All right, welcome to Spoiler Kings. We are going to talk about our main topic of the evening, and we are going to rank all of Phase 4. But before we do that, we got a special guest down here. We got Zach Attacks Reviews. Go ahead and give a shout out to your channel.
Thank you. Yeah, Zach Attack Reviews. I do movie reviews on big movies like Wakanda Forever and small movies like Tar. I break down the good and the bad and everything in between, give you a verdict and let you know if you should go to the theater, wait on streaming, and give it a grade. I don't do numbers because that's arbitrary. Yeah, check out my channel if you like that kind of stuff. Trailer reactions, ranking lists, the whole thing. Thank you, Martin, for that drop. And yeah, subscribe to Spoiler Kings and the Cult Lords because they're all great.
Yeah. There you go, and the Cult Lords. Give a shout out to Cult Lords. But yeah, so make sure you check out Zach Attacks. Make sure you just check out Cult Lords. We did a couple of cool videos. Our YouTube short is pretty funny, I thought. And then also check out Spoiler Kings. Hit that sub button, and we're onward to 1,000, man. That's my next goal in my head. 1,000. That's where we're going. Yeah. So come in, join the family. But let's talk about some Marvel Phase 4. So we're going to let me bring this up. So we're going to rank all of Phase 4. And we're going to start by their release dates. Okay. So I got the list of everything Phase 4 here.
So the Black Widow from at D.
Is there anything
just skip it. This list has I Am Groot. We can skip it. We can throw it in. I don't consider it like a big game changer with it when it comes to it. But it has everything from the first one, which was WandaVision, to the last one, which was Wakanda Forever and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Okay.
So we're gonna start. We're gonna go in not chronological. Yeah. So the time that each movie was released, or show. So we got everything S tier. If we have any S tiers, we might not have, and then A, B, C, and D. And then if I need to add an F, I'll add an F, but we'll see about that. We'll see about that. But we'll start off with WandaVision. So I'm gonna put it up here for now because that's the one we're talking about. Where are we placing WandaVision? What do you guys think? So that came out in January 2021 on Disney Plus. So I don't know. So we put in that. So it was on Disney Plus. So it wasn't a movie; it was a show. What are you guys thinking?
Zach, you go first. I want to hear what you got.
Easily S tier. If you watch my ranking video I did on my channel, that was my #1 show, and it was like way above the #2, which I even love that. But I just think that what the risk that they took there, the acting, the story that they told, the creativity with the episode length, and messing around with different TV eras and everything. I think the only negative I have is that the last episode felt like a regular MCU thing while the rest of the show didn't, but it wasn't bad. Oh yeah, and the Ralph Boner thing was absolute dog shit. But but those negatives nowhere come close to how great the show was and the positives and how rewatchable. And I just remember every week everybody going to that water cooler moment, like, yo, what just happened in that show? What's the theories? Where's Mephisto? What's going on? Quicksilver. And it was just a great feeling. It was like that when I was young and I was reading comic books and everybody saw this crazy panel and everybody was like, oh my god. And then we're like waiting for the next comic to come next week. It really gave me that feeling. So yeah, S tier for me.
Okay.
What about you, Brandon? Yeah.
Oh. Whose turn is it? Mine?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, definitely S tier. It's so easy to get absorbed in the concept that, every comic book or superhero movie needs to be like straight action from beginning to end, fight scenes, explosions, all that stuff. And I like that this dared to be different, very psychological in terms of the character of Wanda. It left me asking questions like what's going on, what's going to happen next, especially those 2 episodes. It really, really hooked me and grabbed my attention. Remember when they dropped the first 2 episodes at the same time that week, that Friday? So I'm like, man, this is why I have no idea what's going on, but I'm curious to figure out what's going on. You guys have my attention. How it kind of goes into the past, kind of some of the fallout from Endgame, specifically in the case of Wanda and Vision, more, obviously more in the case of Wanda, how this came about, how this illusion she projected came about. It was very interesting in that regard. just like Zach said, I do kind of feel like it went like a little generic superhero in the climatic battle. That didn't really need to happen for me. I would have, if they kind of eased off that, I would have been totally fine. But overall, it was great. I loved how I try not to use this word. I loved how mind bending it was. It was great. So yeah, definitely S tier, no question.
Okay. What about you, Brian? What are you thinking?
I loved it, but I wouldn't put it in S tier. I put it in A. Like
Okay.
honestly, I loved it because, and the reason I say A is because I feel like there's like at least 3 shows or movies that I liked more than it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we have what 12 to 15 things. I will probably put it in the second tier, but at the top of that second tier. But it's just I don't see it as my top tier. Because even as far as Disney Plus shows, I liked Loki more.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Loki more. I enjoyed Spider-Man more. So like there's things that I did like. So yeah, I have it as an A.
Yeah. So this is gonna suck. So we definitely need some viewers in here because we need a tiebreaker. Because I'm probably right there with Brian. Like S tier, it there's parts of it that breaks into that S tier moment.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But overall, I want to give it an A just because the first couple episodes were great and they were really good setups.
Mhm.
But I heard from a lot of people that were like over it. I watched the first 2 episodes. I'm done. I don't care about it. And I'm very disappointed because like I was like, if you would have stuck around one more episode, you would have seen all the payoff, and it was amazing. But like Brian said, there's a few other things I liked more than this show. It's definitely in my top 3
to 4. It's right there, 3 to 4. Yeah,
of everything. So I'm gonna probably give it an A.
Remember, multiple things can be an S tier. It's not like it's the only S tier.
No. But now
I still want to put it to S tier immediately. Like I wouldn't mind putting the A and then re-looking at it and say, well, okay, we can put a movie to S, but I don't want to put it as S right now. I'll say put it A with the chance of moving it up, depending on how we go with the other ones.
Yeah. Well, towards the end, right at the end, we'll look at everything and see if anything needs to get moved. But right now we're 50-50. We're at 2 and 2. So I don't know where to put it. I wish I could. I know. But like Brian said, we'll leave it at A, and then if we got to move it, but we're both kind of split 2 and 2.
I think we're gonna get, if we get 3 in S tier, then it can stay at A. If we only get 2 in S tier, that's definitely going up to S.
That's gonna be interesting.
And you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's how it should be, because there's not going to be another one that's going to go above it. Like not 4.
Okay.
You're not going to put the Eternals anywhere.
Well, we'll see what Zach says about that.
I know we like it, but
we got a little while before we get to that. All right, so we'll leave that here, and then, like I said, at the end, once we get through everything, we'll look through it, everything again, and see if anything needs to move. But going forward, the next release project was Falcon and Winter Soldier, which came out in March of 2021. So right after WandaVision, we got Falcon and Winter Soldier. So
okay, yeah, you're right. Because I was thinking, like, when did No Way Home come? That's December. So yeah, okay,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got a while before we get to that movie. But so Falcon Winter Soldier, also Disney Plus show. So we'll go in the same order. We'll go Zach and then Brandon. So what you got, Zach? What are you thinking?
So when this show was coming out week to week, I was like, but I do think it has the best finale of all the stuff that came out in Phase 4. But I was just overall like, but then I rewatched it as a binge, and this is a way better binge than a weekly show. Just kind of like how I think when we talk about Andor, I think like they just dropped all the episodes. I was like, oh, this is a movie. It should have been a movie. It should have been a 2 hour and 20-minute movie. So for that, I'm gonna give it a B because of the racial things they talked about. As a black man, when you execute that stuff well, you're gonna get a positive, even though things are negative. I love Sam. I love Bucky. I love Zemo. I like what they did with the villains. I just know COVID messed the show up. This could have been an S tier show if COVID didn't hold it back. There was supposed to be a pandemic storyline in it. They took it out because it was too soon. So you can kind of tell there was a lot of moments where they had to reshoot, and it was just not as impactful. But because of what they did with Patriot and all those characters and that finale with the student, it was like felt like winner. Like, I love that movie. If that last just really out of the park, so I'm gonna give it a B.
Okay. So that would be. What are you, Brandon?
I'd say I'd probably give it an A. I really liked it, and I've gone back and rewatched it several times as a whole. I binged it as a whole, just like Zach said, and it hit very, very different for me. In terms of the way that it was paced, the narrative kind of kept me engaged. I loved the dynamic between Sam and Bucky. It really, really made me warm up to the character of Bucky. I don't think too many people know this about me, but a lot of people who follow me on social media do. In the context of the comics, and this even bled over into the case of the movies, I used to loathe the character of Bucky. Wow. I used to hate him with a flaming passion. I used to want him dead. In Infinity War, when he went up into dust, like, I had to cover my mouth because I was gleefully laughing that much.
Jeez. Wow, man.
Yeah.
All those ladies that kicked on for your muscles are clicking off now.
It is what it is. But this is the show that really made me warm up to him as a character. And and that was good for me because I've always liked Sebastian Stan. I was hoping when he was cast as Bucky initially, I'm like, maybe things will be different. I've always liked Sebastian Stan, and just in the context of the movies, especially in Civil War, I freaking hated his guts. So anyway, I digress. But I think it set the stage for some interesting stuff moving forward. Like the character of John Walker, U.S. agent. I loved his story arc in this. I thought he was a great character. I think there's a lot of anti-hero potential for him moving forward. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing him in Thunderbolts. If I had my way, he would have his own miniseries.
The fangirls are coming after you, man. It's not even Bucky fangirls. This is Sebastian Stan fangirls.
If I had my way, U.S. Agent would have his own like Disney Plus series or maybe even a movie. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in Thunderbolts. I thought he was a very well executed character. I think my downsides of this show, I think they could have done a little bit more with the Flag Smashers. In terms of what they were doing, why they were doing what they were doing, just a little more exploration. And did they really expect us to feel sorry for the character of Carly Morgenthau? Were we supposed to find her a sympathetic villain? Because I didn't.
Oh, you remember her name?
Yeah. Right. Me, I was calling her Evil Maya Rudolph, but that was just me.
That's exactly what you said every week.
Every week.
That's exactly what you said every week.
Yeah.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Oh no, I'm having nightmares.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was what I was referring to her. I was referring to her as Evil Maya Rudolph. But like you said, the finale was great. That was like a movie in itself, that was a whole third act. But yeah. I really liked it overall. But yeah, I'd give it a solid A.
Okay. We got A. What are you, Brian? Right now we're kind of in between.
Me being a black man, this movie spoke to me more than any show that I watched in Phase 4, period. Isaiah Bradley was so epic. That storyline, having the Tuskegee experiments and all those things. These are things that I grew up knowing that my family, my father made sure I knew about. And the fact that it was on a Disney Plus show about superhero blew my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, but I have to separate myself because if it's me, this is like the most epic thing I saw in Phase 4, But as a superhero, like I'm rating it against other superhero movies and shows. I'm like I'm like an S, and then the way I rate it would be like a B. So I'm gonna give it an A. Just because of who I am, and there's no other way for me to look at it except for that. and the idea that Falcon had to have the idea that, you know, I'm Black Falcon.
Mhm.
And now how can I be this and now be
Great
Captain
line.
America? You know, how can I be Captain America when most of America hates me?
Yeah.
Not because of
And-
anything I did, but just because I'm not white, I'm Black.
Yeah, and it sets the stage for something that they could really run with in Captain America: New World Order. So I'm kind of curious to see, because I'm sure they're gonna explore and run with that more in that movie.
I
feel
just
like
hope
they
it's
kinda
more
have to.
direct
It
in the
should
movie,
be
though,
very direct
because he didn't
you know,
really
should
say
be.
it. We just know.
we just
Yeah.
know exactly. But
And, you know,
Isaiah
they're-
Bradley, see what they did to him.
Mhm.
We need a payoff for him and his grandson because he's going.
Oh,
That's going
Yeah.
to
he
be
has to suit up. He has to suit
unbelievable.
up.
Yeah, he's going to be in New World Order too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are the reasons. Like if you talk to someone who read comics, loves superhero movies, and is a Black man, and there are points in the show I literally had tears in my eyes while watching,
Mhm.
and I know no one else would understand that. You just can't, because you haven't walked the same path I've walked. So there's times that you just wouldn't understand.
Mhm.
So that's why, like, I have it in such high regards, and a lot of people say they hated the show
Whoa.
because you can't understand why it did what it did. You don't understand where it's coming from. You know,
Yeah,
and
that really didn't sit well with me with people, you know, having getting all up in arms with something like that. You know, it's something very real in our society. It's something very real that happened.
that you
you
see
know-
every day. And you saw every day in 2001. You
Yeah.
saw it every day. Yet you still
Yeah.
didn't understand.
You know, why be that fragile when something that really happened in history is tied into something like this? I don't.
I literally heard someone say they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't just experiment on people like that. And
Oh,
I
you
literally
sweet
looked,
summer
I was like,
child.
my mind, like I felt like my brain was going out my ears, like it was so stupid. And like
Mhm.
it literally happened. What are you talking about? They wouldn't do that.
That's why things like this and the DC show, The Watchmen, one of the best comic book
Watch out. Just
shows
gonna bring that
ever,
up.
Awesome.
are important, because this is why comic book stuff is important, because Marvel is putting out storylines and doing stuff that other stuff is just not touching.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the Tuxie experiments, DC's doing that in the Watch. Talk about trauma and how to handle it in different ways, just in general. Like you don't get that in mainstream without being caricatures. And that's why like people piss me off when they talk bad about like stuff like that in the MCU. It's like you got to give me something other than bang bang shoot shoot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not saying like Andor where there's no bang bang shoot shoot, but you got to balance.
They go powder, let's put this in, let's light the fuse, and let's wait.
And then the fuse blow out and they got to do it again.
Yeah, like blow on it, hurry.
Hurry up.
Then you get episode 6, and then yeah.
Empire's coming.
Yeah. But I get it, especially like something like this is like, you know, like that Sam has to deal with all this stuff. Which I feel like a lot of people learn about the Tulsa Massacre through Watchmen. Exactly, man. Like a lot of people didn't really know about. Like I didn't know the full effect of it. You know, like I always heard about it from my history class, you know, who taught us stuff like that. And you know, but that was also in high school, and obviously a high school teacher is not going to get to the details that the show made like visualize for you. But you know, we'll go back to what I said. It's like Sam dealing with all this stuff as being a Black man and that, but also it's like you're working with a guy who was mind controlled by the Nazis. So now you only got that. Now the guy you're seeing around is this guy. So there's so many levels of hatred, you know, on this thing, you know. It's
a lot of
it's
parallels
stuff like that. Yeah,
you don't want to discount
know,
Bucky's storylines as well. Sam's was great, but Bucky's therapy was also important.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah. But you know, I thought that was great. But yeah, the like you said, the Tuskegee experiments, you know, they brought that up. I was like, wow, like that they went there with it. You know,
someone actually said it. Oh,
yeah, you know, and
I wish it was a flashback. That would have been just took it over the top to me. And
we might get that. We might get that in the next one. I think in the movie.
That's my most anticipated movie.
Mine too.
So
Yeah.
So where do you put
Yeah.
it then, Tank?
I'm gonna put it A. I'm gonna put it A. I thought it was great. I loved the action in it. You know, like Horror Geek said, I believe. You know, the action was great. You know, that training montage at the end. I was like, that's how you do it. You don't spend 5 episodes of him learning how to throw the shield. You make it in 5-minute montage. Boom, we get it. Like we understand. Like he's
too.
Yeah. You know, make it intense. You know, we get he spent the whole summer learning how to throw the shield and all that shit. So, like, yeah, we don't need to be shown every time he threw it. You know, so, but yeah, you know, the suit was great, everything. But the only thing that would keep it out of the S tier for me would be the issues of COVID. Like Zach said, like there was a whole storyline that got removed because of what was happening at that moment. And they're just like, you know, like, let's see if we can work around it, you know? And it was kind of like, it felt like literally a part of the show was just pulled out and they just kind of worked around it, you know, because that's exactly what happened. So, but besides that, like the meaning behind a lot of it was great. I love Sam. I love Don Cheadle's, the few moments he was in it.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, so.
And
yeah,
I also
underrated.
I also like where
character.
I like where they went with Zemo, and you know, kind
Zemo was awesome.
Say what?
Yeah.
Zemo was awesome.
He was great.
He was awesome.
And he gave us a great meme with him dancing. And you know, like Sharon Carter, you know, what's going to happen with her moving forward? You know,
they had some of the best characters and character development.
Absolutely.
In there. I mean, this really. I know people keep it underrated, but it was a banger. This was a banger of an episode of a show.
Yeah,
but you know, people didn't like it.
Like I said, it was really like upsetting when people said like it sucked or they said it was mid. I was like what show did you watch? Like I don't get that when people are like it was mid. I was like, where was it mid? You know, like, you know, it had some issues, but it didn't make it a mid show. So hey, we got my buddy Omar in here. Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, Omar. Yo.
Right now we're ranking all phase 4. So we're only on the second one in already.
We're about to go quickly though.
Yeah, we gotta skip. Well, the phase 4 starts off very strong, and then
we get
stuff happens. Stuff happens. So on to the next show. So I think that was a 3 out of 4 went A, and then the 1B, but I think A is where it's gonna be at. And then what else we got? We got Loki. So Loki started in June of 2021. Again, right after Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki came in. So continues Loki's story from his version of Endgame that escaped. So where are we putting this one at? So we'll keep the cycle going with Zach.
Quickly. Yeah, 2 minutes, guys.
Okay, this is hard.
Couple good things, couple bad things.
I'm gonna give it. I'll give it an A. I think that I like Loki's character arc here. You know, it was interrupted with a weird romance with himself. I like the introduction of the TVA, even though it was kind of ended up being pointless. I like Sylvie a lot. She's one of my favorite new characters. I didn't like how they made Loki weak. I think in Avengers 1, Captain America couldn't even punch him, but then these random human dudes were throwing him through windows. I just felt that was weird to me, because I get he couldn't use his magic, but he still has his strength. So I understand they wanted to humanize him, but that doesn't mean you have to make him less powerful. And I thought I think it had a weak finale for me. I didn't like the whole like that.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like the tell not show. It was just He Who Remains just talking about it, and I just felt like all this build up, and it was just like, yeah, so it's me, and I planned this all along, and yeah, I just wanted you two to be here, and I'm gonna tell you just in the big dumps of dialogue what's going on, and I for a multiverse show where we could have like jumped through multiverses, he could show us or something. Like they just like went away from that whole aspect. But all the different Lokis were cool. Alligator Loki, President Loki getting a shout out, which is a great comic book run. The classic Loki was so cool. Like they made that costume look cool. Is it Owen Wilson who was Morbius?
Yeah.
He was fantastic. Yeah, it was just it was a really good show. I just was let down by the fact that some of the stuff that I thought was cool just got interrupted for other stuff that I think was as cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Brandon? Where are you gonna put this one in?
I'm inclined to put this at an S, man. Yeah, I really liked how it went all in terms of fantasy, and it even blended sci-fi elements in there with the TVA. I thought the TVA was great. I thought Tom Hiddleston actually had a lot more. It didn't feel like he was as tethered in the context of the Thor movies, and he really got a chance to spread his wings and kind of flex more of his acting skills, which I thought was great. Love the dynamic between not only him and Sylvie, but between him and Agent Mobius Owen Wilson. I thought that was a great medium. I'm looking forward to seeing more than him. They're saying he's going to be in Deadpool 3. I am all for it. The exposition dump, just like Zach said, felt like a little much. Although it was cool to see an iteration of Jonathan Majors as Kang, I was kind of half and half when it came to that. So I definitely agree to an extent in that regard. I love the different variations of Loki. It was a really nice kind of introductory taste of what's to come for the multiverse saga moving forward. Overall, I really liked it. It might even be kind of close to one of my top ones overall. Definitely in terms of the context of the Disney Plus series.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see moving forward. But I'll give it an S.
Yeah. Then Omar came in and said Loki S tier. He agrees with Brandman.
Thank you.
So, all right. So he goes, it gave me alligator Loki. Yeah. He also gave you a frog Thor for a quick
2 seconds.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, for like 2 seconds, but worth it. All right, Brian. Where you giving tiebreaker?
I wish it could be an S plus. If I could give it an S plus, it literally is my favorite of all the shows. I felt like the 6 episodes, it should have been more. I wanted even more, but not because it didn't give me enough, because I just wanted another episode. I thought the episode with Kang was phenomenal. I thought Jonathan Majors was phenomenal.
Oh, wasn't he great?
Because the introduction of him, and then you couldn't show these things. I understand, but I didn't feel like I missed out on anything because of COVID. But I already know where to go with Kang, because Kang is one of the most awesome characters to ever be created, period. So I was just enthralled in that, and the way Jonathan Majors just did it, the way he was like just sitting there in that Apple in the elevator, just doing this stuff. It was amazing, and he was able to carry it. He was able to carry that show without being the main character of the show. That just told me this is the one entity in this whole phase that really set up where we're going to go for phase 5. And that's why I'm like, this is by far the best one for me. I loved it. I might watch it again this weekend.
I've watched it a couple times already. I've watched it.
Yeah, I've watched it several times.
Yeah, to see things I missed, but yeah, for me S tier, man. Like I was really surprised when Zach, you said like you didn't like that last episode. I love that last episode because I like info dumps, but especially the way he did it was just like
so good.
So yeah, it was just so good because it was just like I guess I kind of saw it coming, like it's gonna be a big thing. But then the way he did it and the way he was just so nonchalant about everything, he goes, yeah, I've created everything and made sure everything stayed the way I wanted it for all, for all of everything of. It's and he's just like, but whatever, you can kill me. I just thought like
it's up to you.
Yeah, it was really interesting, but it was probably the biggest setup, especially in phase 4. But one of the biggest setups in all of the MCU was like that last episode. And he's like, I'm trying to think of something else that set up as much rather than like Thanos, like grabbing the gauntlet and saying like, what do you say? Yeah, I'll do it myself. Something like that. But yeah, I thought it was great. I love Miss Minutes. I loved was it was her name Killslayer or
Remslayer?
Remslayer. Yeah. I liked her. I'm interested in what's going on with her because in the comic book, she has her own story arc with Kang. Mobius was awesome. So, and then Loki falling in love with Sylvie, which is a version of himself, was so
It's so
funny.
Loki.
And it's also, it's so Loki. It's like he's so narcissistic that of course the only person he would fall in love with would be himself. Like, it's like, that's what Loki would do, So but also the very opposite version of him as himself. You know what I mean? Like, so it was very, very awesome. I just loved every part of it. So definitely S tier for me. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's mid. It sucked. Loki sucked." I was like, Tom Hiddleston.
You have a joyous life. Like everything sucked, then nothing's good. Okay.
It changed a lot of the MCU. Yeah, it changed a lot of the MCU where like you find out about the Infinity Stones and stuff like that. It's like, oh, here they're just paperweights.
They're just paperweights. I love that.
And it just
blew. Just full of them. Here you go. Take it.
Yeah, blew his head. It was like, what? He was, he spent his entire life or most of his life, trying to get this stuff going. And there's a drawer of them. But I feel like the TVA still has a lot of things we don't know fully about. It was very kind of all over the place, though, but all over the place in a good way because of Kang is all over the place. So we'll see. I'm excited about it. And then real quick, I know Andy said, did you miss the giveaway? No, we're doing the giveaway on Monday. I'm going to put a post out for that. We're doing the giveaway on Monday. Make sure you come back and check us out. So again, three out of 4. Sorry, Zach.
No wrong. I know this is going to happen the whole stream.
Is that Norse Loki got pregnant by a horse?
Yes, he did.
Did he? Yeah.
Oh, Loki is I forgot what that's called. I don't know I forgot what that's called, but he just had sex with me. Yeah.
I mean, this is very different from Norse mythology.
Oh, I mean in the comics too.
Oh, in the comics, really? Oh,
he impregnated a donkey or something like that in the comics.
Of course. Yeah. So, and then Martin dropped the link. That is the link for our giveaway video. So you still have a couple more days to enter in. So make sure you go check it out. I know Omar, go check it out. Who's it? Horror Geek, go check it out. Make sure you go enter, and you can win a nano gauntlet.
And then hashtag 500 in comments. Let's do that.
Yeah. Speaking of Loki and Thor, I need to keep playing some God of War.
Hey.
So
I need to get that.
Yeah. Shout out to my personal channel, twitch.tv/Ting Kramer. Go check it out over there.
Loki and Myth has a lot of animal children.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
He's nasty.
Yeah, he's nasty.
Yeah. Well, all the Greek gods are kind of. Yeah. Like I think every Greek god and Norse god are kind of messed up like that, but that's a whole nother conversation. All right, so we're finally into our first movie of Phase 4. Got delayed forever. Black Widow. I'm gonna start putting movies down here for now. Black Widow came out in July, right at the end of Loki's run, July 2020 or July 2021. So, Zach, where are we putting Black Widow?
I'll give it a C.
C?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was fine. I
said
3
years too late, right?
It didn't have to be.
Yeah.
I did my review, and I even did when I did the ranking video of when I did my list and I ranked them. I said that I've always wanted Natasha's Winter Soldier, but I didn't expect the director to just copy Winter Soldier beat for beat and water it down. Even from the silent Tess, who's related to her. But the thing is, you took someone that shouldn't be silent in Taskmaster, who talks the most shit in the Marvel comics. I don't even care that they changed it to a girl. Honestly, that's fine. The actress that they picked can do a good job. But what would have made it better is to have a chatty, talking shit female Taskmaster. I think that would have been more progressive than hiring just a silent one. Because we don't get evil women characters like that. So they dropped the ball on that. All the side characters had more story and arcs than the main character. Natasha didn't get much action-wise, story-wise, plot-wise. The only thing saving grace for this was Yelena Belova.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh is one of my favorite actresses in the last 5 years. She's great in everything she does, even the movies that are just okay. she's always a shining light, and she did a bang up job here. She's did a good job in Hawkeye. She's gonna do a fantastic job in Thunderbolts, and when she leads the Young Avengers and everything she's gonna do in the MCU. David Harbour was good. But yeah, it was just too weird CGI choices, too much of a copy of Winter Soldier, but just not as good.
Yeah. Well, sorry, got a cat walking on me. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah.
I agree.
Were you keeping
I
it at a
agree.
C?
I'd leave it at C. Like we said, first and foremost, the movie was way too late. This should have come out. This should have come out after Civil War. You know, this should have been a couple months after Civil War. It shouldn't. At this point, I had kind of lost interest in the character of Black Widow. It really seemed like it was just kind of Kevin Feige and Marvel just throwing Scarlett Johansson a bone because she didn't get her own solo film when she should have much earlier. It was an entertaining enough movie. To me, it just wasn't the movie that it could have been. They could have done more, just like Zach said, they could have done more with Taskmaster. The movie really didn't even have its own identity. You know, it just kind of felt like a cut and paste and bits and pieces of others, like Winter Soldier, elements of the Bourne movies in there I kind of picked up on. You know, countless other espionage movies. It just never felt like it had an identity all its own. It was well acted enough. We know what to expect from Scarlett Johansson. Florence Pugh was the shining light. You know, that was already touched on as Yelena. I really couldn't have seen that character working as well if it were any other actress other than Florence Pugh. Just her energy, her delivery of the roles, what she brought to the role, like she crushed it. I'm looking forward to seeing more of her. I was overjoyed to see her in Hawkeye. I'm looking forward to seeing her in Thunderbolts. You know, I think she was the one, dare I say, even carrying this whole thing. You know, I was just very, very middle of the road with this movie. It was, you know, it was entertaining enough for what it set out to do, but it just kind of lacked ambition to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we got two people who give it a C. Brian, what are you giving it?
I don't even think this is a Phase 4 movie. This is like a Phase 2 movie that got released in Phase 4 after she's already dead. I mean, she literally is already dead, and now you're gonna release the movie. It was stupid. All right. The movie comes out in in 2017, 2018. This is a good movie. Yes. I feel like you get an A-B movie. You know? And now I'm gonna give it a C. Just because, you know, I love Scarlett Johansson, I love Florence Pugh, I love David Harbour, I love all those things. But guess what? Getting a C because it didn't matter. There was no reason for it to be released. And it's just it was a waste. It was literally a waste. So I only give it a C because there's other things that deserve a D.
Yeah. I'm right there with you guys. Probably a C is about where it should be at. Because it didn't suck to the point where like it's a D, you know, like it was at least entertaining enough to enjoy it, you know. And you had some powerhouse actors and actresses.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Christine, Rachel Weisz, you know, I freaking love
Ray
her.
Winstone, you know.
Yeah. So, but like you said, it came out in the wrong phase for one, like Brian said, and then COVID just murdered this movie. You know, like it's coming out today. Now it's coming out tomorrow. It's coming out this day, and they changed the release date on this so many more times. You know, it was just like the running gag of COVID. You know, it felt like, you know, it was like it's never gonna come out. You know, and then you're finding out all the stuff that Disney did with Scarlett Johansson afterward. I mean, Disney just ruined this movie from the start, like right from the start, from releasing it in the wrong time frame and then having all the issues and handling it improperly. So, but we did get some good stuff out of it, you know. David Harbour with Red Guardian was great. Like you said, Florence Pugh was great, and they're awesome characters, you know. So, if this was Scarlett Johansson's last time as Black Widow, it kind of sucks, you know, because I'd rather have her
She's
last
an amazing
moment.
character. It was
Yeah.
an amazing character,
Yeah.
and they didn't do an arc for her. They killed her
Yeah,
off, and then they're like, "Hey, this is how we got to that point 5 years ago."
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Well, fuck you too.
basically a side quest in the MCU, but you know,
It was.
it could have been so much more, because just like you said, Brian, yeah, she's an amazing character. You know, I would have been happy with more than one movie of her. You know,
Yeah.
it just seemed like it was kind of made, you know, just for the heck of being made, and it was never the movie it could have been. It was just too little, too late.
Yeah.
And I don't mind
this.
side quests.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was
just saying I would have rather seen this than seeing Iron Man 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind side quests. I don't think everything has to push the narrative of the overall universe forward. I think that's a problem that a lot of people have with these movies and shows, because just like comic books, it has to be about the character. It just needed to be a better movie. It should have been grittier. They had this whole thing with him taking girls and young girls and trafficking. They could have gone into more of that. Like, they had different. The action scene when Taskmaster's first chasing both of them was actually really, really good.
Yeah,
but it's just they needed to stop. Like, I get that they wanted some quiet moments, but the quiet moments were just too static. And then the finale was just too similar to Winter Soldier, but just not as good. Going up to something in the sky, and she's fighting in the silent protect, and then the ridiculous them falling from the sky and then landing on the ground, and she has no powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, this movie was also. This was made after Wonder Woman. The first Wonder Woman came out and was super successful.
Fire.
And then Marvel's like, "Oh, hey, we have a woman too. Here it is." You know, and like Brandon said, a little too late. You know, for that. It was like DC won that battle because you didn't have the courage enough to put out one of your best characters, not just female characters, one of your best characters out. So, you know, that was more on Disney than I think anything else. Was just completely screwed up this movie.
Do you guys know when this movie was originally supposed to be coming out?
Oh man, it was like 2020. Was it like
2020.
March of 2020?
So when they first released, they were going to put a movie together for her. This was in 2018. They talked about it, putting the movie together. They just did nothing for it for like a year and a half.
Yeah,
those are issues I have. Like, you could have done something with this, and you could have came out with this movie a lot sooner, and it would have been a lot more successful. But it seems like it was an afterthought. And then once you killed off the character, it was never going to do well.
Yeah, no one cared. No one cared because they saw the way she should have that they wanted to see her, like her sacrificing, having a good cherry on top of whatever little story she had. That was it. That was the way you should have ended. And said you have her come back just to introduce her replacement, which was kind of not cool.
Pretty much.
And then Andy said Black Widow was good when you compare it to Iron Man 3 and Thor Dark World. Yeah.
I like Iron Man 3. Why is everyone shitting on him?
Because it deserves it.
I know the Mandarin
twist.
I know the Mandarin twist was bad, but we got
it was the half the movie.
The Mandarin twist had me cracking up in the theater. I still kind of think it's funny, especially in hindsight, since they technically kind of fixed that. But
one of the coolest superhero scenes I've seen in a superhero movie with him saying everybody.
There were elements of Iron Man 3 I liked. You know.
It was.
But that's not Phase 4.
Let's not like.
Yeah. Let's move on. Speaking of, this is a good one. The next movie that came out was Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That came out in July 3rd, 2021. So pretty good segue from Iron Man 3 to Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So what are you putting this one at, Zach?
That's an A, easily an A.
A.
Yeah, really fun movie. I always like Simu Liu from Kim's Convenience. If you ever seen that show, real OG. Awkwafina, despite her controversies outside of this movie, I thought she did a great job. And I forgot the actor that played Mandarin, aka Wenwu, but he did a banging job. One of the best villains that they've ever written. He acted very well. The ridiculousness of his story arc, he just made it grounded and believable. If it was another actor, it probably would have been like, what? But he did a great job of making us feel for him. And like, you're doing the wrong thing, but I understand why you're doing it. And that's a great villain. And the fighting was really good. The bus scene's iconic. The scene on the railings, iconic. And I don't know. My only negative is I think they jumped the shark a little bit with the third act with the dragons and Dragon Ball Z and the Avatar Last Airbender. And I think that the Aquafina's character Katie shooting the arrow perfectly after 30 minutes was a little Disney-ish. I thought that took me out of the movie. I was like, what? She just shot a dragon? Okay. One spot, yeah. But overall, I thought it was a great Tony Leung. Thank you. Horror Geek, you're a great guy. I like you.
Man, we appreciate him in chat.
But yeah, I thought it was a great movie. I think it's a great origin film. It's not S tier yet. I think that Daniel Creston and Simu Liu have more to go. Has more room to go to S tier movie for the second one.
Yeah. All right, Brandon. Where you putting it?
I'm with that. This goes in the A department for me too. I absolutely loved. I love martial arts movies, and in a time where like shaky cam and not being able to see what's going on during the fight scenes is so rampant, this was a real breath of fresh air. The fight choreography, the way the fight scenes were shot were absolutely incredible. I loved the cinematography. I love the use of like Asian hip hop in the movies. Having lived overseas and kind of immerse myself in that culture. That was a great thing to see as well. It really went all in that regard. I loved Simu Liu as Shang-Chi. I loved Tony Leung was great, just like we said. It was hilarious seeing Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery showed up, and how he showed up was absolutely great. Zach, you actually beat me to this. The only thing that preventing me from giving it an S is, yes, the third act where they kind of went full on into the fantastical with the dragons and stuff like that. If this was just like a full on kind of semi-grounded martial arts movie, I would have been with the elements of just the Mandarin, Tony Leung's character Wenwu. That would have been enough for me, rather than going into the whole thing with the dragon and that sort of thing. They really didn't even need to have like as fun as it was, like the cameo from Wong and Abomination. If this was just in its own corner, I would have been fine with that too. As fun an addition as that was, it just kind of seemed necessary in the context of the MCU. Just them playing, oh, spot that character. Here's that character. Remember him? But other than that, it was a really, really enjoyable experience for me. I'm looking forward to a sequel, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Daniel Cretton brings to Avengers Kang Dynasty in a few years.
He's gonna kill that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be so good. All right, Brian, where you putting it?
This was the second best movie that came out in Phase 4. This is almost an S. It's an A. But it has elements of an S. Like 2/3 of that movie is amazing. It's literally amazing. Even with Aquafina, I didn't even hate her in the movie. That takes some real talent. I had no problems with her at all. So I mean, it was written well, it's acted well. The story was so well done. All the action scenes were great. Everything was believable. Second best movie that came out Phase 4. I loved it. Done.
Yeah. I'm there with you guys too. Everything. The villain was like Zach said, was believable. Like, he did it for love. He did it because he missed his wife that he loved, and he knew it was his fault and stuff like that. It was like, yeah, that's realistic. When you make a villain that you're like, I get it. You're doing it messed up. You're not right for doing it, but I get why you're doing it. And that's what always makes a good villain. And that was definitely it. But the same issue, that third act, that finale was trying to be too much. I don't know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, maybe. I don't know. Like, it was just getting a little too much. I'd rather have seen like a badass, like Brandon said, a badass like martial art kind of fight to the death kind
tournament.
Of thing. But the tournament will have been pretty cool too, maybe. But I want to see him being the deadliest man alive. Like he is in the comic book. This is the guy that teaches Spider-Man how to spider foo and
Spider
stuff like
way.
that. Yeah. So I want to see more of him being a badass like that, which he did show. But that third act with the whole dragon fight was
take the focus off what it should have been on.
of him being a badass. Instead, it became more magical with this whole dimension realm. Like that's still kind of confusing too. Is like, where is this place at? You know, is it on Earth? Is it a world between worlds? I don't know.
I think it might be tied to Miss Marvel's alternate.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
eventually
so
we're gonna get an answer for all that.
Yeah, no, for sure. If anything, Phase 4 was a lot of setup for Phase 5 and 6.
Totally.
But this one there too, you know, because I even like what they did with the 10 rings. You know, I was cool with not making it like actual rings and making them more like an actual, you know,
like
Chinese the arm things that they have. I don't know what they're called, you know. So that was super cool. You know, I enjoyed it. But definitely A. It was really close from being an S. You know, if they would have fixed that ending a little bit and tying it up. Not even the CGI. I get the COVID messed up CGI, this and that, whatever. I can get over like not the best CGI, but if it makes sense, and it didn't, it was a little too much for me. But besides that, I love this movie. Shang-Chi, you know, even his name being Sean, you know, and then like, you know, people like now they go, oh, it's Shang-Chi, you know, like, and then he goes in and tells you, like, no, it's Shang-Chi. It was like, you know, that's cool, you know. So I think we all agree there. So that's the first.
Nice.
We're not agreed on this next one.
Well, the next one is What If. So what if was the next?
Really?
Yeah, that came out. That came out in August 2021.
Okay.
You know, so that was it. So that was on Disney Plus.
So that was before Shang-Chi. So Shang-Chi came out in September.
Yeah.
Well, because it ran from August to October. So I think that's how they're placing it.
Okay.
You know, which is weird because usually they try to keep them separate. You know, they didn't want people to go to a movie and watch on the same time. So they kind of like, here's a show and then movie show, you know. But it did run through Shang-Chi. So it started in August, ended in October. And I think they're going by the end date.
Gotcha.
What if? What are you giving it, Zach?
B.
You giving it a B?
Yeah. I think that it was uneven. I think that almost I like every other episode. But those last 3 really tied it up and was some of the best MCU action, fantasy, team up stuff that we got in any of the movies or shows. I love the interactions. I love the multiverse feel of all these different characters. It felt like a lot of different comic books that I've read. I just think that some of the What If episodes, like the zombie one, I didn't really care for. It was like, I can't remember like every single episode, but it was just some I felt was weaker than others. And I wish they would have told us that it would tie in the end, because the way they pitched it was it's anthology, so nothing is together. It's story, like Star Wars Visions. Star Wars Visions didn't tie in to each other at the end. That's what I thought it was going to be. So I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to finish this if it's not going to really be quintessential. But then fucking Vision shows up and fights the Watcher, and then they all team up, and I'm like, ah! So yeah, it gets a B for that.
Yep. B. Okay. And then before Brandon goes, Andy says he's giving it an S tier.
Wow.
And it said Chadwick Boseman's last performance.
Yeah.
You know, as Star-Lord T'Challa. So yeah, which is probably one of my favorite characters. So he was super cool.
It is my favorite character. You know that.
It is, yeah. Definitely just shows you how cool T'Challa is and how shitty Star-Lord is.
He's able to talk him out like, hey, don't worry about that. Come be one of my friends. We're okay.
So what about you, Brandon? What are you giving What If? Right now it's at a B.
Yeah, I was kind of walking the line between A and B. I'm kind of leaning a little more towards A in this case. Just from an artistic standpoint, I loved the animation style, and I really love anthologies, and I love the concept of an anthology when it comes to Marvel. But I think where it really kind of failed for me is, I would have left it as an anthology. By that I mean each kind of episode was kind of self-contained. I didn't need it to I didn't need everything to tie itself back up in the end. I would have been fine with no team up. I would have been fine with just individual episodes, like Twilight Zone / Outer Limits style, like they seem to be going for. I didn't need a payoff in this regard. It would have, you know what? I am changing my mind. This will be a B. That's where it really kind of shot itself in the foot for me badly. Yeah. If not for that, I would have ranked this easy. This would have been like an A, maybe even close to S, but it really kind of shot itself in the foot in that regard. They should have just left it anthology style as promised individual self-contained episodes. That's where they went wrong for me. Chadwick Boseman killed it though. Chris Hemsworth was having a lot of fun. You could tell, the fact that they brought a lot of the actors back to voice their counterparts. Jeffrey Wright, absolutely incredible as the Watcher. But
he has that voice.
What, kind of tying everything back up for a team up just out of nothing but obligation. It felt like that's where they really went wrong for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Brian, so right now sitting for two out of B.
I don't know. Maybe I saw the wrong show. I thought What If was fucking amazing. I loved every one of the shows. I loved the comic book feel of it. I loved Jeffrey Wright. I liked the ending because you had to set up Multiverse of Madness. You had to have those characters, and they were too alike to not set it up, knowing that you're going to reuse them in Multiverse of Madness. They had to do that because there's nothing else out there to use. So I had no problems with the ending of it. I said Chadwick Boseman, Star-Lord T'Challa was my favorite. I loved Thor in it. I didn't not like any part of it. I thought everything was cool. Even the zombies, I think is going to be a payoff. I really believe the zombies are going to be a payoff very soon.
Well, we're getting a Marvel zombie show.
We're getting a zombie show.
So it's like there's nothing that was part of this What If that didn't have something to do with setting up something else. And that's what it was all about. And I enjoyed every single part of it. I loved it. So yeah, I'm in the S. So maybe I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I loved it.
So an S and two Bs. I don't know. Would that like average out as an A? Maybe I don't know.
A minus maybe.
Yeah.
The Bs will bring it back down.
Yeah. An S is a lot for me. For me, this is I enjoyed it. It was a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely somewhere in the A-B range.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I was kind of walking that line.
Join us.
You know what? No, I'm changing again. A.
Damn it! Damn it!
I halfway with S just because you go both with B. So
everything I said still stands though. But I was walking that line. I'll throw it in A.
If
they didn't have to do the
wait. If he goes A, then I'm going back down to A. So I don't need to have an S. Because I like WandaVision more. But I just felt like you guys getting a B. There's no way this is not getting an A. So I just had to
messing up the grading, man. Yeah. Now for me, I'm gonna give it A because I had fun with it almost every single episode. The zombie one was cool. It wasn't the coolest episode. Seeing Agent Carter was cool, stuff like that. The ending, like you said, it didn't need to be there because I feel like knowing these characters existed was enough to set up the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange movie. But them teaming up together was kind of cool because if anything, because this show proved two things to me. T'Challa is a badass and Killmonger is always a bad guy. So when people were saying like they want to see Killmonger back in it and he should be the king and blah, 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 I'm like, that's stupid. We've shown 2 times in 2 different versions he's a bad guy. Like he's not going to do the good thing.
It also broke down the walls of the multiverse.
Yeah.
That's why the team up had to happen because it broke down the walls. That's what Jeffrey Wright had to bring, and they had to start merging these things so us understanding what Spider-Man and what's going to happen to Multiverse of Madness.
They should have saved that for a movie. That's my only problem. They should have saved that for. I think we know there's a multiverse. You could have said now they interact in No Way Home, and then Doctor Strange is like, this is how it happens. This is how these multiverses interact, because we have America who can do this without, any problems,
Isn't that kind of what they did?
But by teaming up, you already broke that. You already set that up for like No Way Home. You're like, okay, I already know what's gonna happen.
To team up because you already had to team up in No Way Home. I can hear you.
No Way Home, you're gonna have the team up. You're like, oh, so they can interact. And then in Doctor Strange, so it would have built up. Instead, you blew your load in What If, which was cool because that ending was awesome.
Showed up in Multiverse of Madness and not having seen anybody else. That would have been cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't disagree with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but that ending, that Ultron with the stones was fucking awesome. I would say that was super cool. Yeah. He was like Thanos too, like yeah. So that was super cool. Or was it Vision? I guess Ultron.
Yeah, Vision Ultron. Yep.
Both of them together.
Yeah. So I can't be mad at it because that ending was amazing. But it did ruin the upcoming movies where I think you had rumors of big things. You know what I mean? Well, Multiverse of Madness, it was already in the title, but No Way Home, you're all like, is it? Are they? I don't know. You're kind of like, waiting the whole time. But this flat out said like, oh no, yeah, they can interact. They just bust through invisible walls and boom, now you're over there.
Okay.
But I did have fun with it. Give it an A.
I'm excited for season 2.
Yeah, seriously. Because you could set things up where it makes more sense in the movie, like the whole Infinity Stones thing. Like, oh, Infinity Stones still work, just not in.
It has to be in the right.
Just not.
Dimension or whatever. Yeah,
just like
multiverse.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff they can get into. But now, this is where a lot of people started getting a little.
This is where we're going to divert.
Yeah. So the next movie that came out was November 5th. So a little bit after What If was The Eternals.
Oh god.
Directed by Chloe
Zhao. This is where we go right here. This is where everything changes. Everything takes a turn.
Yeah. So I
civil first.
So Eternals came out, and that was probably the first divisive movie of Phase 4, really. So we'll let Zach start with it. Where are you placing Eternals on this list?
Go ahead, put in S tier.
It's an A.
The A. We're gonna start it off at. Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I love this movie because I like the history lesson that the MCU got. I like Zack Snyder's DC movies, and Chloe Zhao took a lot of inspiration from that. I think it's written all over through this movie, and I really enjoyed that form of storytelling. I like the power sets that didn't seem dumbed down. I like the characters' conundrums that they had to go through. I remember being mind blown that there was a celestial in the earth and it was going to blow up and destroy everything. And they had to make a decision to like, do we do our job that we were built to do, or do we go against our manifest destiny? I thought that was kind of brilliant. And I had a visceral, and anybody that saw me in the movie did a reaction when Icarus killed Salma Hayek. I literally said in the theater loud, "You motherfucker."
Yeah, I agree with you there, man.
I was like, know about the movie.
How dare you? Like, I like
Stark.
And that ending fight was so dope. All the powers used. I just thought the only negative was that there was just too much going on for the length of the movie. And I think my only other negative is that Icarus and Gemma Chan's character, I don't remember what her name is right now for some reason, their chemistry.
Cersei.
Yeah. Their chemistry wasn't strong enough for what they were trying to do. If that love story was like the chemistry was strong enough for that love story, the movie would have been held up more because people were like, oh, I love them together. Like Peggy and Steve and yada yada yada, but they had no chemistry at all. She had chemistry with Dane, but she did not have chemistry with Icarus. So I think that held back the movie a little bit because that was a big part of the movie. But I thought the sci-fi aspects, I thought the action, the visuals, the fact that it was not a green screen, it was shot on location. And just the fact that it was a DC movie in the Marvel universe, and I prefer the feel of DC movies more. it just was a movie for me.
They actually bring up Bruce Wayne and Alfred in this movie, so
Yeah,
you articulated your point so very well.
She purposely did that.
Yeah.
You articulated your point so very well.
And now you're about to shit on him.
Oh hell yeah.
Well, also they brought up Batman Alfred. They also brought up Batman in Guardians of the holiday special, which was kind of fun. Yeah. So
James Gunn is planting the seeds for that crossover.
That's the first thing I thought about too. So he's giving it an A. Okay, some pretty good reasons. Brandon, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna agree with that. I'm gonna leave this at A as well. I really appreciated what Chloe Zhao was trying to do. She's very much, things like Nomadland, some of her other work. She's very, very much an art house director. I was curious and very open to the idea of an art house movie here in the case of the MCU. And I really think that she pulled it off very wonderfully. I really respected its ambition. I liked the way that say what?
Okay.
No, somebody commented and said he looked like Bucky, and I was like,
yeah. He looked like Bucky, a lot like Bucky.
Oh, Richard Madden, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But like I said, my problem was with the character of Bucky, not Sebastian Stan. So, but I liked the characters. I thought they were very well cast or very well acted. I think Barry Keoghan as Druig was a standout. I'm forgetting the actress who played Makari, but she was great. Brian Tyree Henry as
yes.
Help me out.
Fastos.
Yeah, Fastos. Awesome character. I think that the final battle that kind of put faith in how the MCU will approach X-Men. In terms of like the team up, the power sets, how they were using their powers, how they were working individually as a team and as a team too. I really liked, Angelina Jolie's character, Athena. Yeah, it was kind of interesting to see, Angelina Jolie, probably the main A-list actress of the bunch, being kind of, dare I say, kind of sidelined or relegated to a supporting role. That was kind of, it was kind of cool to see that. But I really liked the approach to it from a technical aspect. I loved the way that Zhao shot the movie. The post-credit scene, I literally stood up in the theater upon hearing Mahershala Ali's voice saying that one sentence. You sure you're ready for that? I stand up and I go, oh!
Everyone else already left. Everyone else already left, so it didn't matter.
It made up for the other post-credit scene.
Yeah, and like you said, Zach. Snyder very much approached the DC universe treating these characters as gods, but I preferred the way Zhao did it because it kind of worked a little bit more in her context with these characters that she was saddled with. So I'll give it an A. I'll leave it at A.
Ryan?
That's why I gave it.
Yeah,
literally. So I was excited about seeing this movie. I went and saw it opening night, and I fell asleep 4 times. 4 times. There's too many characters that you had to try to put into a movie and shoehorn in. There was too many people that you didn't know who the hell they were. Even right now, you just gave it an A, and you were asking me who did they play. How is it an A then? How is it on the same level as Shang-Chi? It wasn't on the same level as Shang-Chi for me. I feel like the movie was too long for one. It was tried to have all these characters without having any character arcs, and none of them really had chemistry with each other. None of them. I didn't care about any of them. I love Salma Hayek, even Ajak. I was like, well, I really don't care. I felt like I didn't care at the end. That's just kind of where we were. And because of beautiful, yes, it was cinematography was beautiful, looked good. I understand what they're doing. The story wasn't even terrible. It was just horrible. Like the movie and as a whole, when you look at it, I was just like, why am I falling asleep in the movie theater? Why is my wife snoring, drooling? Why is 4 people getting up, walking out of the movie theater? I'm like, all right, come on, man.
I saw that too.
I knew what they're trying to do. I understand where they're trying to take it, but it just didn't do well. I appreciate the work it tried to go, but they didn't succeed. And I just think there's too many characters. Too many. When you have a storyline that you're trying to introduce these new characters, you better focus on these new characters. You can't bring 9 of them in and forget and think we're going to remember. I think that was just a misstep. Now, do I think that they need to be thrown out of the MCU? No, I don't think so. I just think it wasn't a good movie. I think they didn't do it right. That's just my opinion. So yeah,
Where are you placing it? So we got 2 A's.
That's a D.
It's almost like I have to put it as a D because I don't want it to be a B. Like, you know, but I don't I don't think it was a D movie. It was not. I don't think it was good as Black Widow, but I'll put it like right next to Black Widow.
You put it next to Black Widow?
Yeah, like right next to Black Widow. That's where I am.
Okay. Okay. So before I go, I asked chat, the couple people that are in here. Andy gave it a C. Horror Geek, who's been agreeing with Zach almost the entire show, said, "Yeah, I appreciate what I was going for, but that
how could you
betrayal." But I'm right there too. Me and another Nerd Huddle guy, Alfredo, we do Oscar movies. So whenever we get the nominations for best picture for Oscar year, we watch them all, good or bad, however we feel. And I watched No Man Land, and I fucking hate that movie. I didn't like it. It looked cool. It had gorgeous things. It was a movie about, I don't know. I couldn't get into it. And when I found out, and then I looked at her other movies, I'm like, oh, I watched that. I didn't like that. I watched that, and I didn't like that. I mean, she's only done like 5-6 movies at this point.
Only a few. Yeah.
And I haven't liked really anything she's done. And I found out she's doing it. I was like, ugh. So I'm like, it's gonna have. I already knew right off the bat. It's gonna have somebody looking off to the sun for 5 minutes, and sure enough, that's what we got.
It was a beautiful sunset, though.
Of course it is. Every sunset's beautiful when you put it behind like a desert forest in the distance and all that shit. But overall the actors were good. It wasn't the worst movie ever. I've definitely seen worse movies. But it was hard to put so many characters in one movie. Granted, they focused on Cersei mostly, and all the flashbacks were kind of cool, but yeah, it didn't hit it, and when Zach said it took Snyder stuff from it, I was like, oh cool. I hate Snyder. I don't like his movies. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I might get attacked on Twitter, and I'm gonna have 50 million people coming after me. I'm not a Snyder fan. He did 300.
I'm coming for you.
I am a Snyder fan. And I still hate the movie.
I'm with.
What did he make that was good? He made 300. He copied 300 because everything was panel for panel from the comic, and the comic is gorgeous because you took not Robert. My God, I can't think of his name. He's one of my favorite comic book guys.
A proper adaptation.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, you're just copying. Zach is not great.
He's great visually and with fight scenes, and that's about it.
Yeah. So and I did get a lot of Zack Snyder kind of feel for stuff too.
Frank Miller,
mixed with Frank Miller. Yes. Oh my God, Frank Miller. His Wolverine is one of my favorite. I have it still, like in my collection somewhere, signed by Frank Miller. So,
legendary.
He also wrote RoboCop, which is one of my favorite movies. I mean, the director completely shit on his script, but he wrote RoboCop for what that's worth.
Original?
The original 1 and 2.
1 and 2, yeah.
1 and 2. Yeah. But obviously the director changed a lot of his script and pissed him off, and that was him being done with Hollywood. But yeah, I'm giving it a C. It just like Horror Geek said and what Brian said, I appreciate what they were trying to go for. They were going for something different, which is cool. But for me, it didn't land. It didn't land. It was a lot at once. I'm excited to see the characters going forward. Exactly. I think they could do some cool stuff now that they're all introduced. But as an introduction to these characters, it was a miss.
So counting the chat grades in this?
Yeah, we'll count the chat.
Oh, okay, so yeah, it's a C then.
Yeah.
like 6Es versus 2As.
Yeah, but like I said, I appreciate what they were doing, but
I just can't believe you guys are put in the same level as Shang-Chi. That really does
I
surprise
like
me.
it more than Shang-Chi.
Wow.
Really, wow.
Okay.
I didn't like it more than Shang-Chi. I'd say I probably liked it around the same.
Shang-Chi is not different
Seats for
from
clone
anything, that's
Bucky.
all.
I mean, no, that's really interesting to me to hear what you guys are saying about it. I just didn't see it that way.
Yeah, I
That's
did
fair.
too.
Well, most people agree with you.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I left that theater, I was like, "Oh, I'm in the mean minority." My review was about to get 2 views.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one way to get a lot of views is when you love something everyone else hates, or you hate something everyone else loves.
Yeah.
You tend to get a lot of people saying you're stupid. So, it is what it is. But yeah, and I like what Andy Bush is. C for clone Bucky. It was like generic white guy. Yes,
Disney Plus did help this movie though.
Yeah, it did. I think it did much better.
The year anniversary, a lot of people came out. I didn't watch this in the movie theater, but when I watched it on Disney Plus, I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of fans out there, so that the second movie might be able to do better.
It probably would have been better on Disney Plus, just because you can rewind and rewatch and rewatch, skip,
too expensive though.
You're tired of it, you pause it, you say I'll come back in the morning.
Too expensive for them to drop it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, no way they were gonna drop it on Disney Plus. Zoe Zhao just won an Oscar as best director for some reason. I don't. Me and Alfredo, when we text each other like, what? Like, how did that win? Like, whatever.
That's the type of stuff the Academy likes. You know what's funny? When I saw the hype for this movie, I was like, Kevin Feige likes Zack Snyder. You know how I know that? Because he said this is the best movie we ever made before the movie came out.
He did.
Yeah.
And this is a Zack Snyder movie in the MCU. And I'm like, he wants that darkness and gravitas, but he knows he can't do it under Disney. And he was like, yes, I finally got it. And then it bombed. He's like, shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But it wasn't even that dark, I feel like.
It wasn't that dark. It was confusing as hell. That's what it was.
I mean, like terms of cinematography and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like I feel like
stuff. Yeah.
Moon Knight was darker than that.
Yeah. We should have got a point where like, you work for Game of Thrones, I work for Game of Thrones. Yeah, that would have been the MCU Martha moment. So yeah.
How do you know that name?
We still should have got a Sherlock moment in Infinity War Endgame. I can't believe they didn't.
A few times.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the Academy loves character studies.
Yep.
That is true. The Academy's so far up their own ass. All right, let's keep going. We're about almost halfway-ish.
Oh my god, really?
4, 5, 6,
Holy shit.
No, not yet.
Talk too long about Eternals.
Yeah. All right, so we got Hawkeye. Ran from Disney Plus from November to December of 2021. So where we at? Hawkeye. Introduced a few new characters.
When did Hawkeye come out?
Hawkeye, November to December of 2021.
Okay.
So only a year ago.
Yep. Yeah. So cool. Okay, another Christmas themed kind of background of Christmas going on. Introduced a few new characters and stuff like that. But where are you gonna place it, Zach?
This should have been a Christmas movie, but it's a C.
Okay.
I am a big fan of these two characters in the comics, especially this particular when they finally get paired. Bought the comics, love the run. I think Haley Steinfeld is perfect casting. This phase has some perfect casting, and she's really one of them. Yes. And she's one of them as Kate Bishop. She is the character in real life. The things that hold it back for me is the story is weak to me. I think Jeremy Renner didn't put enough effort in a lot of the show in terms of passion and matching the other actors.
He was trying not to go to jail.
I know he has his legal issues, trying to stay under the radar, which still bothers me that he gets to do that. But Ezra Miller's getting all the flack. But
as I digress.
Who else? I think Kingpin. I did not like their version of Kingpin compared to the Daredevil version. It's too cartoony. The mother Vera Farmiga is a very fantastic actress. Was a waste. Yeah, it was just a lot of wasted potential for me. It should have been. I think the best episode was the episode where they're getting away from Echo and they're they're doing that car chase. I thought
Mm.
all that was amazing. That blew my mind, and I was like, yes. And then we never got to that level. Down back again and kind of like coasted a little bit. We got some stuff with the LARPers, and it's like, okay. And then we had the stuff with the stepdad, and I'm like, yeah, man, I get it. You're setting up another character, but And then the finale was just, yeah, okay, yeah, it was fun.
It was over. You're like, cool. All right.
Yeah. You
That
know,
was a
like I
show.
feel like that should have been a Christmas movie. Should have came out December 21st, 2 hours and 20 minutes. Could have did the same exact plot, more streamlined. Didn't need to be a weekly drop, and had production values and stuff like that. I think it could have did really well like that as well. But I just thought I wasn't insulted because I love these characters and the storylines, but also was just still disappointed.
Okay. Brandon?
I'd go a little higher. I'd give it a B. I liked that it was a smaller kind of street level story in comparison to some of the other things that we've seen in the MCU. You know, it could really just be summed up as Clint and Kate versus a crime syndicate in New York, which I really liked. You know, we've gotten all these like Avengers level and Thanos level threats throughout the course of the MCU that it's easy to forget. Sometimes there's smaller, like I said, street level stories going on. So it was a nice change of pace in that regard. Just like we said, Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. There was no one else. She was the obvious choice to play the role. She absolutely killed it. I'm looking forward to seeing more of her down the line. I thought the comic booky iteration of Kingpin was fun. You know, with him being kind of like this near indestructible peak human, for lack of a better term. I thought that was kind of fun to see. I will agree that Vera Farmiga, we all know that she's a great actress. She's proven that over and over again. But they didn't really do much they didn't really utilize her. You have a great actor like her at your disposal. I'm probably going to talk more about that later down the line when we talk about another movie on this list. But it just kind of seemed like an unfortunate waste in that regard. But overall, I had fun with it. I love the inclusion of Lucky, the pizza dog. He was great.
Oh,
yeah, it was fun. It was like a fun kind of like Christmas buddy movie, kind of reminiscent of Lethal Weapon meets Die Hard to me.
You can't be pulling out movies like that. Lethal
Die Hard is a Christmas
Die
movie.
Hard, like that's
Die Hard.
you say like the best buddy cop movies ever.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard. You know,
no, but I can see the influences.
Yeah,
so,
influenced by.
Influenced by, but not the same level of.
Oh, I didn't say same level. I said I kind of picked up on like similar tones.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So where are you putting it?
B.
B.
B? Okay, so we're at a C and a B right here. Okay. So we'll put it at a B right now. Brian?
It's all right.
Well, real quick. So Andy goes A for Arrow, B for Bullseye, C for Christmas.
I'm dead.
I give it a B minus. I love Haley Steinfeld. She was good. Jeremy Renner was done. The story was all right. It's a B minus, man. This is a B minus.
You give it a B?
Yeah, it's a B minus.
You gotta give it B or C, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Don't mess up the grade.
Give me a C. Just give me a C.
Give it a C.
Yeah.
I'm probably right there at a C as well. You know, it was fun. You know, I think if the story was a little bit stronger, it would have been cooler. But because you had Yelena coming in, which was awesome. You had like Kate Bishop, who was awesome. You know, like you said, Haley Steinfeld was amazing. But just some of it was kind of just like it felt like going through the motions, like just going through the motions of something with a similar story, you know. And I agree with Zach. Like once that car chase, one of the coolest scenes in I don't know, in most of the MCU stuff. This is definitely up there. Yeah. You know, it really was. You know, turning the arrow big and all that crazy stuff. super cool, you know, and them going back and forth, and that being one solid shot with in the car where there's cutting back and forth to the front seat, back seat.
It's showing how
well
good
shot.
she was, because he was doubting her up at that point, and then she just killed it. I was like,
yeah, you know, and I was like, oh, I wish, you know, but then after that, it just went down to a level and just stayed there. You know, even that ending was kind of blah.
Even that same episode, after the cool down, they have that moment with his kid. And it's just like, wow, we got all this great action, but then we get a character moment right there. Him dealing with his deafness, her understanding, him translating to the kid. All that was fantastic. And if they just balanced all that stuff throughout the show, it would have been good, but they did it.
Yeah. I don't know. Was it different? I got to look up and see if it was different directors for each episode, because whoever did that episode was great.
It is different directors every episode for all the Disney Plus shows.
Was it? Yeah. So the ending was just such a letdown.
Forgettable. Nobody even talked about her. That's how forgettable she was.
Yeah. You know, but she had a good possible story arc, and they just kind of
flashback was really good too.
Yeah,
with her watching him kill everybody, I thought that was amazing.
Yeah. So you know, it was all right, but yeah, I'm giving it a C. That right there with you guys. And then
Oprah was better.
Yeah, well, I think you're gonna have Daredevil and probably more Kingpin, so I think you'll have the people,
maybe Hawkeye,
the connections, maybe Hawkeye, maybe Kate Bishop. You know, we'll see. So we'll probably keep it at C, 3 C's and a B. Oh no, 3 C's and who gave it a B? Brandon, right?
Me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there you go.
You as my teacher. That's why. The good grade.
The good grade. All right, so we're going halfway. So Spider-Man is the halfway point of MCU. So Jesus Christ. So Spider-Man No Way Home. Right? Yeah, No Way Home. December 17th, 2021. So it finished off the year last year. One of the most profitable MCU movies, I think it was. So
movies, period.
It really was. So the trilogy, I guess, the third movie of his solo movies. So it kind of ended up that storyline of Spider-Man with his 3 movies. So Zach, were you giving Spider-Man No Way Home?
Between an A.
What was that?
I didn't hear what you said. What?
Floating between an A and a B.
Oh wow!
Okay.
I'm gonna give it an A because you know, all my issues with the movie, they give me all 3 Spider-Mans. Give me an amazing Green Goblin. Spider-Man beating Doctor Strange in his own realm. The Daredevil showing up and having a cool scene. And the thing is like, you see, I'm talking about like moments. Like that's one problem is like the story is so weak and scattered. And it seemed like 2 different films smashed into one. The first half feels like an MCU movie that's not like a mediocre one. And then the second half feels like a Sony Spider-Man movie, and it's fantastic. And that's what brings down the overall mood for me a lot of the times. This should have been an S-tier movie. This should have been a little bit more exciting in terms of how Andrew and Toby was brought into the MCU. Freaking Ned, who's one of the worst Spider-Man characters ever, having magical powers all of a sudden and bringing them in his grandma's house was some of the laziest shit I've ever seen. Lizard was useless. Sandman was useless. Jamie Foxx was a plot hole. It was just a lot of story issues with the movie where I feel like they could have just done much better in terms of the story, but they gave me so many moments that I went crazy in the movie theater that I can't give it a low grade, because sometimes it's just like how a movie makes you feel, and the movie made me feel good despite me. After I think about it, I'm like, that was stupid. That could have been a little bit more exciting, but overall I'm like, I like this.
Yeah. Okay. Brandon?
I'll leave it at A. I'll give it a solid A. I was kind of swaying in between S and A, but I have to give it an A as well. I really, really liked the movie. I thought in terms of the fan service, I was very, very happy with that. I think it kind of banked a little too much on the fan service at times, though, and just being like, "Oh, here's a callback to that line. Oh, look at this character. Oh, look at that." So there were things in that regard to where, like, at times it got to be a little tedious to sit through. I agree with Zach about the character of Ned, him being magic all of a sudden, and plus I don't really much care for the character of Ned or his stupid haircut anyway.
Get that blue in for Ned.
I didn't like that. I did like how these three movies were basically all one big setup to like classic Spider-Man, with him being on his own, in a crappy apartment, with a sewing machine. That was cool. I did like that.
Best suit ever.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
I said with the best suit ever.
Yeah,
oh yeah, very, very awesome suit, right? I think some of the how it kind of I was simultaneously amused and annoyed that a lot of the bad things happened stemmed from Peter being a naive idiot and not thinking things through. And that's kind of where he ended up in the movie, just by botching Doctor Strange's spell, not listening to Doctor Strange, and just letting not just letting all the villains be sent back to their worlds, because that's how he lost his aunt. It was just it was good all around, but I don't think it was great enough for me to put it as an S in good conscience.
Okay. Brian?
So let me get this straight.
Oh boy.
You tell me
Eternals
are A
yes.
and Spider-Man is an A.
Say what?
You said Eternals is an A and the Spider-Man is an A.
Yes.
Eternals is a better made movie than Spider-Man No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have nothing else to say.
I didn't say more entertaining.
Oh my god.
I said it was a better made movie.
I say Spider-Man was the best movie of the entire phase, by far. Not even close. It was literally the best movie we had in Phase 4, period. It tied in a lot of things. It gave enough fan service. It had enough of a story. I didn't care about the things that he did wrong, because he's an idiot child, and it made sense, him being an idiot child. Like, it followed the character. It made sense still. And then it gave us opportunities to see things in the Spider-Verse that, I mean, honestly, Spider-Verse is one of my favorite things that we're going to talk about. It's the best of all the multiverse stuff. So it's just, I give us an S, and I have no problem giving it an S.
Yeah. Into the Spider-Verse was a superior multiverse movie.
Into the Spider-Verse is
best Spider-Man movie.
By far the best Spider-Man movie. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But we're not ranking that movie. Into the Spider-Verse was amazing. I was watching that yesterday. Yeah, I was watching that yesterday. Like, I could watch that anytime. I have the comic books. I can't wait to see where they're going to go with this. But I have no problem giving this a S.
Yeah. Ooh, man. This one we're gonna be split again too, because I'm probably going S. But there were issues with the plot where Peter did things just to move the plot along. Yeah, but it was just to move the plot along, and I was kind of like, okay, I guess. But it didn't ruin the movie for me. But the parts it was the most comic booky. It was the most comic booky movie, I think, out of Phase 4, probably besides like Endgame, with like the insaneness of like a crisis kind of comic book level. But I don't know. It's just, like you said, like Ned getting these powers all of a sudden because
that was stupid.
He's Asian and Wong's Asian. Like, okay, like there's legit why, like legit why, because he brought up like something about like Wong, and then he's
so weak.
He's like, that's my cousin, right? We cousins.
But if you find out they're actually related, that might be a good payoff later on, but
I understand the payoff. He's gonna become not Green Goblin. What's the other goblin?
Hobgoblin.
Because Hobgoblin has magical powers, and he's supposed to be Hobgoblin. I get it, but
Yeah, I mean it'll be a different version than we get from previous because Hobgoblin, I believe, is the son of Green Goblin. I can't think of their names. The Osborns. Norman
No,
Osborn,
no,
and
no.
then
No.
wasn't he?
Harry's
Harry.
another Green Goblin. He's not.
Yeah,
he's
he's
not.
just another.
Oh, he's another Green Goblin.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's what I thought. Well, I know that's how the movie did it, but that's how I thought
Goblin's
it
a
was
different
before.
character and stuff.
Okay. But I mean, but yeah, for me, this is S tier. Yeah, your video stuck, Zach.
Yeah, Zach. Yeah. Sorry.
We can hear you fine, but your video is just stuck in one frame.
Everything
But
just like went off the screen and came back.
oh yeah, that's.
Do I need to leave and come back?
Yeah, here we'll do that in a second.
Okay.
Because we're in the halfway mark.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You don't need to see me move around. That's fine.
We'll give it a second. All right. So I don't know. I'm putting it in S tier. Brian put it S tier, A tier. I mean,
even that's what even Horror Geek that has no idea. It's somewhere between A and S. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely somewhere between.
I just can't with good conscience put it in the same levels where you guys had Eternals. It just hurts me so much. it just doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it did have some weaker story issues to lead the story, but overall, I didn't mind stuff like that.
Andy comes up with the save right here.
Oh yeah, I saw it pop up. Wait till it pops up. So Andy's the deciding
what was
factor.
The spell in No Way Home?
S for Spider-Man.
There you go.
Whoever knew Parker or who knew Spider-Man?
Whoever knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Jamie Foxx said, "I thought Spider-Man was black."
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he was from a different universe.
Spider-Man
Andrew Garfield was white. Andrew Garfield was white. That's Andrew Garfield's villain.
Yeah, but he didn't know Peter was. He never knew Peter was Spider-Man.
Exactly.
How did he come through the portal then?
Yeah.
It becomes a plot hole no matter where you do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, couldn't you say that because Andrew Garfield said I did some bad things and he no longer was really the Spider-Man, or that he could have been, there could have been a second Spider-Man in that universe.
But Electro was already dead by the time he started doing all that.
Yeah.
Electro died in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, you can pull them out from different times. But same thing with Sandman and Norman.
Lizard.
Yeah, they pulled them from the movies.
All three are different timelines.
They pulled them from before they died. So like
and some
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, and some of those guys didn't even die,
Yeah.
Wait,
True.
who didn't die?
Lizard lived, Sandman didn't die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So what was the point of this movie? Never mind. Continue with your S tier.
Yeah. I do think it was hilarious. So if they were plucked out of their times like right before they died, and presumably sent back right before they died, some of those guys kind of pretty much died anyway.
Yep.
Norman Osborn, technically Peter did get what he wanted because in curing him, he technically did kill the Green Goblin. And then he sent Norman back right before he got stabbed in the nuts, which makes that little O that he does right before the glider hits him in the original Raimi Spider-Man all the more hilarious.
Yeah.
Not that I'm even mad because Norman Osborn was a dick anyway. So
yeah.
He's a great villain.
Peter went through all that trouble for nothing.
It's true. Yeah.
Not even mad about the Goblin though.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just I think the action and all the cool comic booky parts of them coming together and getting these characters and actors that we all love, I think, is what
propels
it did very well with fan service. I agree.
That's yeah. This is the way to do fan service like perfectly. So, and I think people got blinded by that.
And then also when you look at Multiverse of Madness, when you look at that and compare it to it, you realize this is much better. You walk out of the movie theater, you're like, yeah, this is a good movie.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely putting Multiverse of Madness lower.
Yeah. I don't know. You put Eternals at A, so I don't know. We'll see.
Eternals is a better made movie than Multiverse of Madness.
Eternals is not a better movie than Arthur Goes to New York.
What? That out of nowhere?
Go home.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, we're gonna take a quick break. We're halfway through it a lot longer than I expected, but it is what it is. It's all good. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll figure out what if we want to keep going or save it for next day. But we'll take a break. Yeah. Yes. Stick around. We'll probably chit chat for another 3 more minutes. And then take a potty break. So
Okay.
All right. So I know somebody said they had to go use the potty.
I already did.
And then I don't know, did you need to log out and log back in, Zach? Because you're stuck in that one frame.
Yeah. Let me.
Oh.
Dude, this is stupid long. We're
yeah,
doing fanatics right now.
I know. Does anybody have work tomorrow?
I have to be at work at 8:00 meeting.
Okay. If we want, we could save it for another day and finish it off.
But when?
Oh.
I was like, oh yeah, we could. But when?
Yeah.
I'm down for whatever. Getting a little hungry. I'm probably gonna go out and eat somewhere after that.
Sure. Yeah.
We don't care what you say. Eternal's an A.
What did we say earlier about varying opinions?
Yeah.
No.
Except for this one.
This is it. Except this is the line. Right here. No further.
Perfect. Right here.
No further. This right here. I don't know where the Captain Picard.
You gotta draw the line somewhere.
Wherever Captain Picard says. Right
are we continuing? Can I take a little break real quick, like 5 minutes?
Yeah. Go. We'll figure out if we're gonna continue or not. But yeah,
I'll be right back.
Break. We said Jorge, I think Peter and MJ have probably the most realistic romance in the MCU. Just cute, awkward nerds. Agreed. I love that version of the MJ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do. At first, I was kind of about it. I'm like, I'm not sure, but yeah. But now, everyone loves Zendaya. So
I love Zendaya for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've known about it for a long time.
I haven't paid enough attention to her in order to like formulate an opinion on her. I like her enough. She's cool.
She's good. I like the stuff. She's in that one musical with Zac Efron and
The Greatest Showman.
The Greatest Showman. I didn't think I was gonna like that movie, and my girlfriend likes musicals, so we wound up watching it, and I really enjoyed that movie. So Zendaya was a great part in it. Euphoria. I feel like I'm too old to watch Euphoria, but
exactly.
Everyone's loving it.
Euphoria is not really my cup of tea.
Yeah. Huh?
She's not in it anymore, right? She's like
that's the rumor, but I don't think it's confirmed yet. But that's the rumor is she's gonna be too busy to do the show. But I'm like, but the show is like the best show on TV right now, like at least rating wise and fans wise and stuff. So like, I don't know. I doubt she would give it up. I mean, especially if Zendaya was like, hey, I can't film at this time. The showrunners would be like, cool, we'll move it for you because you're you. Yeah, you are the star of the show. So and if people don't want to move a timeline for Zendaya, then
they were like, well, you fired.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Said no director ever to her. So I don't know. Do you guys? We can save it. There's another 9 more.
There's so much. That's why I'm just kind of just saying, okay. Well, we got to rank them, and it's just like we're giving so many, big things.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Holy crap! It's been nearly 4 hours.
Yeah, it's already midnight by us, so it's got to be like 1 for Zach.
Yeah, I'm happy I don't work tomorrow.
You can keep rubbing it in, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to hear the baby cry. So I'm like, it's coming any minute.
At 8 o'clock, I have to be in Bronzeville doing a meeting. I'm yelling at everybody.
Nice. So yes,
I got
save your voice right now, or
I got to wear a tight shirt and scare everybody. Wear a hoodie.
you come in, flip the table.
What did I tell you? They're like, we already saw you on your show yesterday. No, we already know. Too late.
Yeah. They just bring you a bunch of comics.
I'll take it.
Yeah. At 4 hours, they had to go on a 4-hour show. But Zendaya won 2 Emmys for the show. Yeah, you move your schedule for Zendaya.
What was her? She was first thing I saw. Casey Undercover or something like that. That was her show on Disney
Something
Channel.
on the Disney Channel, right?
Like
It
Casey
was Disney
Undercover.
Channel.
I want to say what it was.
I don't know what it was, but yeah, she was a Disney Channel.
Disney Channel, right?
And then she did something with Bella Thorne.
Is she?
Yeah, she was on a show with that.
My baby.
Wait till this comment pops up. No, wait till this comment pops up. I saw Andy because I'm seeing it on YouTube, but it takes a while for StreamYard to flip the table and yell Eternals when you get into work.
They're just look at me and like, yeah, we know.
Shake it up.
Casey Undercover. That's what it was. Casey Undercover.
Oh, I remember that. That was like her big thing.
Yeah, all those Disney Channel stars.
Is she the most successful one? Maybe.
Recent, right now, yeah.
Recently.
Right now, yeah. But there's stages. What's her name? The other one, the Wizard Place chick who dated
Selena Gomez.
Yeah, she was like the thing.
Well, Only Murders in the Building is really good, and she's in that, and she does a great job.
I heard it was really good too.
I love that show.
Yeah. So she's pretty funny. She did like a sketch, I think, on Funny or Die.
Miley Cyrus is the most successful. Fall closely behind Hilary Duff and Zac Efron.
Zac Efron.
Efron
Is he more successful than Zendaya? I mean, are we talking about acting? Because obviously, if you go talk about singing and stuff, but like talking about acting, I think Zendaya is the most successful out of them.
I think she's the best. She's probably the best actress.
Zac Efron is up there with her, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Zac Efron's awesome. He was pretty good in that remake
this year. The movie that came out this year, The Greatest Baron Ever. He's fantastic in that.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf was good for a long time before he lost his damn mind.
He was still good even when he lost his mind.
I mean, he's just a good actor. I know what's called Randy doesn't like him, so but
I don't like Shia LaBeouf.
What about Lindsay Lohan? I mean, she was good for a long time. There's a lot of Disney. I mean, if you
she was good as a kid,
and then the most successful, Justin Timberlake, and Britney Spears.
Oh, that's right.
And Christina Aguilera. Like, there's so many of them. Like,
yeah.
I forgot about those. Christina Aguilera too.
Raven Simone, Demi Lovato. Like, there's these go on and on and on. Disney,
it's a hit factory.
Yeah.
They know how to pick like the ones that
do the thing.
Yeah. So what do you want to save the second half? You guys want to save the second half for another day? This is part 2, the second half of Phase 4 ranking for all of the Phase 4 MCU stuff, TV, movie, all that good stuff. So we're back, and we are back with Mr. Zack Attack Reviews.
Hey,
do you want to do a quick shout out to your channel again?
Yeah, man. Subscribe to my channel, Zack Attack Reviews. I do reviews on movies, television shows, trailers, and ranking lists of the movies that I've seen for the year, the month, so you guys know what to watch that came out in whatever month it is. Yeah, check me out.
Yep. So link is in the description. Make sure you go check out Zack Attacks. And while you're clicking some buttons, make sure you click that sub button here. We are on our road to 1,000 now. That's it, man. No more stops. We're going right to the top. So
let's go.
But yeah. All right. So where did we leave off? This is the.
Oh wait. I have something to say. Well, one, Brandon, wake up. Wake up. First thing I have to say. All right. Second thing. I want to apologize. I went to watch Eternals this weekend. And it was not the worst movie I've ever seen. It was not. I still see it's a C movie, but
I've seen it a few times.
I was giving it like, I mean, this is awful. It was not totally off. It was long and it lacked emotion for me, but it was not a terrible movie. I'm just going to give you credit. I'm going to say it now. That's it. I'll never say it again. I'm giving you this credit right now.
I really appreciate you for doing that, because you was really shitting on me.
I was like, I'm talking too much crap. I better go watch this.
This is why this video is 2 parts.
Just that one movie.
I was like, wait a minute. No, it was not that bad. I watched it again and I was like, okay.
I agree with the emotion part. I think if it had more emotion, you probably would say it's at least a B. But yeah.
Probably. See, that's why I'm like, it wasn't a bad movie where I'm like, I hate it, but it was a boring movie for me. You know,
It
that's
didn't
what
draw
that's
you
what
in.
for me. Yeah,
I get
exactly.
that.
And you know, and then they kill. What was it? What's his name? Congo? No. Who's the one they killed right off the bat? The one that's protecting Angelina Jolie.
Wong's
I forgot
cousin.
what was his name?
Wong's cousin.
But that's the problem. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Too many of them.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite ones.
Names.
He was
Yeah,
awesome.
and they killed him right away, and I was like, well,
Oh,
come
yeah, he
on.
was great.
See, I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, and S, I've decided, stands for superior.
Superior.
Superior. That's what.
I don't know. They never tell you what the S tier is, right?
This is where we're going with today.
Yeah, yeah,
Superior is S, A, B, C, D.
yeah,
That's what we're going with.
yeah. Because there's like for me, it's like I learned about S tiers playing Final Fantasy VII, when you can like upgrade your chocobo to S tier to S rank.
I
That's
got
how
it
you-
now. S is actually superior nerd. That's what
There you go.
super nerd.
Super nerd.
Hank Kramer. That's what it is. S section. There it is.
Super nerd. Oh man. All right. So we're going kind of chronological order, more or less. Where did we left off? We left off with No Way Home up there on the S tier.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the next one up was beginning of that was pretty much 2020. No, pretty much 2021.
2021.
9 things in 2021. Then we got another 9 things in 2022. That's insane. That is
That is a
insane.
lot.
It didn't feel like that.
It didn't feel like
It
was
didn't.
so little.
Right?
Yeah, like
I mean,
want
other
more.
people feel like it's too much, and
Mhm.
you're like, it's too little. I need more.
Yeah. So now we're starting 2022. The first thing that came out was Moon Knight. Started in March and went through May over on Disney Plus. I'll put it down here for now. It's not a D, but this is what we're talking about. So we'll stick with this. What we did last time. We'll go Zach. Everyone go Zach, Brandon,
Zach,
and Brian to me.
Yep.
Okay.
You can move it up 1.
Up 1 to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Oscar Isaac as an actor and everything he ever does. If he's in a movie, I'm watching it. So I was really excited for him to be Moon Knight, despite him not being Jewish of origin, and that's where the character's from. I think he did a phenomenal performance through every single episode as all the characters that he was deemed to play. But I think that Moon Knight, like in the costume, was boring, and the action scenes were not really great. Ethan Hawke was not a fun or interesting villain. Khonshu was cool, but was not used enough. Some of the coolest scenes is with him, especially the thing he did with the stars where he was like, I think, rewinding time. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I think it has the Shang-Chi problem where it jumps the gun and goes too big and has like a Godzilla battle happening that I had no emotional attachment to in the last episode. And they randomly made his girlfriend a superhero, which I thought was weird and could have been waited for a season 2 or a movie or something. It was crammed with a lot and not crammed with enough at the same time. So a lot of stuff was happening. There was a lot of high concepts that I enjoyed. Like every religion is acceptable. You go to wherever you go, whatever afterlife with whatever religion you believe in. I thought that was amazing, and I wish that was real life. But it was just the story. Like I'm a fan of the character, and I think that they just didn't stick to the roots of the character enough, and it just didn't feel cohesive enough in terms of from beginning to end.
Okay.
Brandon, what you thinking?
I'd say move this one up to B for me.
Okay. Right.
You know, one thing that one thing that I'm a big fan of and that I've used very often during our recordings is the term slow burn. I use that a lot for, you know, I used it for Andor a lot, but this was very much a slow burn, but it kind of suffered from the Andor problem where it didn't really at times it was such a slow burn that it kind of shot itself in the foot. It kind of self-sabotaged in that regard. You know, for such a wealth of great actors, you know, we had Oscar Isaac, we had Ethan Hawke, we had F. Murray Abraham as the voice of Khonshu. There were all it had all the makings to be absolutely amazing, and there were things about it that were really, really good. Like Zach said, the performance of Oscar Isaac like anchored this show. He carried the entire thing. F. Murray Abraham was great as Khonshu. Even Ethan Hawke, you know, even though his villain wasn't particularly interesting, he gave a nice little kind of nuanced, creepy performance that I really enjoyed. Some of the action sequences, also like Zach said, I kind of found myself a little underwhelmed in that regard. I think the best one for me was the chase sequence with Mark Spector on the first episode. Other than that, I can't really. There's nothing that really springs to mind that was particularly memorable in that regard. So I think it for all its ambition, it never was the show that it could have been.
Okay.
Yeah. What you got, Brian? What you thinking?
I'm probably giving it a B. And I enjoyed it a lot more than probably everyone else, but it wasn't that. It was parts that just weren't entertaining. I just like the mystery behind it. I love the character, and that drew me in already. And Oscar Isaac also draws me in. And then the things they did, being in Egypt and seeing all the scenes and all how beautiful it was and how intelligent it was, and us like, are they going to show all three? Or are they going to show just two? What are they doing with his multiple personalities? I thought all that was intriguing. Where they're going to go with it. Just all that kind of brought me in because I like that type of stuff. But it could have been an elite show. And because it could have been an elite show and didn't hit it, it missed the mark a little bit, I'm probably bringing it down to a B. That's just me.
Yeah. I'm kind of like in between the B and the C. Because the B was like, it gets a B because of Oscar Isaac, but then everything else kind of really drags it down to that C. Because the story was okay, but it could have been more. Some of the cool parts, they really kind of like the personality disorder. They kind of really didn't explore it enough for me. So Khonshu was cool. There's some of the effects were cool. I do agree with Zach with the fighting scenes weren't that great.
No,
like with him in the suit. Him in the suit was just kind of like, it was cool, and then you had the fancy suit, Moon Knight, and then the fighter Moon Knight version, and it was just, I don't know, like
what they did to my boy. That fancy suit shit pissed me off because that version of that character is so dope in the comics, and they turned it into a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke almost.
Yeah. He
should have been cool, really, really cool, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Johnson.
That there. So Zach's not getting blocked. I'll get blocked by comments.
Hey, we already said Zach's the new Kramer. He's taking over the show. We already said it. Where you were going? We was like, all right,
yeah,
this is it.
Kicking me out. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm probably gonna put it a C.
It's a B minus. It's a B minus movie. That's what it is. So I mean, you're not wrong. With 2 B's, 2 C's, it's I think it stays on the B line, but if we get another one on the B line, it's the last on the B line. It should almost be a C. I think it's just a little bit better than Hawkeye.
Maybe a little bit better than Hawkeye.
Yeah,
just a little bit better than Hawkeye. That's what it is.
Yeah,
because it's shot for more. Hawkeye didn't shoot for a lot. It wasn't ambitious, so I'll give it that.
Yeah, Hawkeye was like, here's Haley Steinfeld. Like that's all it was. Like that's it. Like, oh, okay. And then most of us were like, okay, cool, yeah.
That's all we really cared about. Like,
exactly.
All right, let's go.
But I'm cool with leaving it at a B too. Because Oscar Isaac crushed it. That was one of the best.
He was so good at acting. Oh,
in all the MCU almost. That's one of the best ones.
1000%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
him and Elizabeth Olsen killed it. This phase.
Yeah. So I'm cool with a B. I can leave it there.
And what's her name that played Layla? I liked her too.
Yeah,
She was cool. Like Ethan Hawke, I didn't care.
Ethan Hawke was a waste.
That was a waste. Mandarin. Jesus Christ!
It was almost like as bad as the Mandarin. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the Mandarin he spoke in the show.
Oh, the Mandarin. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Well,
Even Seymour Lee had to call him out. Like, what was? If he can't do it, just don't have it in the. I'm like, yeah, just don't have him do it.
Just don't do
Make
it.
him-
Oh
Just
yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah, but ignorant people for me, like me, I
forgot all
wouldn't
about
know. I didn't even know the difference. I was like,
Then Nolo till it was translated, and I was like, what? Take out pizza? What the hell is he actually
that
saying?
cat is on the takeout pizza. See you tomorrow. What? Okay.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, he goes LOL. It was pretty bad.
Oof.
That's why Andy's giving it a C for country.
Forgot all about that.
Yeah,
Well, that should put it as a C then, really?
that should probably put it as a C.
All right, House of
Yeah,
Nerd show here. Wait.
Just replace it with over Hawkeye. If you could do that, just flop those. So
Yeah,
Moon Knight's better.
yeah, oh yeah. All right, he's giving it a bunch
He's
here.
giving all his
He
rankings.
was,
Okay.
yeah. So S tier.
What
Was
he hate Loki?
Oh, he did. He did not like Loki. I remember him saying that he did not like it. And I love it.
Where
So
does he say
where's
he doesn't like Loki? Oh, he gave it a D. Okay.
Yeah, he gave it a D. But when we were on his channel last weekend,
Yeah.
we were talking about Black Panther and then talking about Loki and blah blah blah. And then he's like, I don't like Loki. I was like, wow. Moon Knight, he's giving an F for Moon Knight. Wow. So Love and Thunder, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, and Eternals are all F in his book. So they're like way bottom. Right? He's giving
You thought I was bad, huh?
Yeah.
I mean Loki, What If, and the Falcon Winter Soldier, he all gave D's.
That is disrespectful.
You have to understand. No, I think House of
There
Nerd
A's in ours.
Brian, we gotta
House of
fight
Nerd
him.
has, he has to know,
2-on-1.
understand why, because why Falcon and Winter Soldier means so much to me as a black man, how awesome it was for me to see, and that type of representation and understanding in the show. So that's why it's higher. A lot of people, a lot of places have it as a B or C movie. It really does. But I'm sure.
But it's definitely at a D or F.
It's definitely not my mind, and I thought it was unbelievable. That representation for me is just the greatest.
Yeah. It's like nope.
But even if you take all that away, I still think it was a solid story, especially with what's his name, fake Captain America. Oh my God, the guy that ended up getting the shield in the show
Walker.
and they had to take it away from. Yeah.
Oh, well,
With
yeah.
everything they did with him, especially with the bloody shield and ending the episode like that.
All right. Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, but that, that's
cool.
you're
But it
okay
is,
with
man.
your opinion.
Yeah. I was joking about the fighting thing. I love everyone having their own opinion. You don't have to say sorry. Stand on your ground. Stand on that hill. I might knock the hill over, but
Yeah.
Look how pathetic this guy is.
There you go. Little Dr. Disrespect.
I love listening to him talk about this stuff, and I could disagree with it in because you know how I feel about Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
So I could disagree with someone and still respect what they're saying. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, what's
Keep
next?
that going. So we have a movie, May 6th, 2022, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Oh man, after watching this one a few times, it definitely changed my opinion. So yeah, you give it a little laugh, a little pound it.
well, my problem is I only watched it once.
I've watched it multiple times and actually liked it more the more I've watched it.
Yeah. Well, here, why don't you start us off, Zach? What'd you think?
This is disrespectful because y'all got Eternals at C.
He gave it an F.
Well, his opinion does not matter. Let me stop. Because I'm a fanboy, like I appreciate story more than setup.
Mm-hmm.
And the story in here wasn't great, especially since Doctor Strange had no arc. And America Chavez is one of my favorite new comic book characters, and they Disney-fied the hell out of her. She's supposed to be like a Black Latino Beyonce mixed with Cardi B, and they gave us Selena Gomez.
That is a good comparison.
Wow.
The actress is sweet. I follow her on Instagram. I love that she's getting the roles and she's great. And hopefully she turns into the character eventually. But it felt like Disney was like, you got to Disney-fy this character. I like the movie overall. I'm gonna put it in a B
Mhm.
because they did a lot of
Okay.
cool stuff in the movie. Even though I didn't like what they did with Wanda because I love WandaVision. Y'all know I put it in the S tier. I love her character arc. She
Mhm.
was the villain, but there was some redeeming factors, and then they turned her completely crazy. Her motivations were way more shallow. She just kept saying, "I'm a mom," and I was just like, but giving us the Illuminati, and some of the multiverse stuff, even though he didn't do a lot of multiverse stuff. It was just we saw some really cool stuff in this movie, so I'll give it a B.
Okay.
Okay. What about you, Brandon? You gonna move it? You gonna change it?
I'd say the same. I'll give it a no. I'd say the same. I'd give it a B.
Okay.
One thing, one of the downfalls of the MCU for me is there's not a whole lot of movies out there that feel directly influenced by their director. There's a couple here and there, but you can't really look at them and say they have like a specific style when it relates to said director. That said, when I heard that Sam Raimi was coming on to direct this to replace Scott Derrickson, who had stepped down from the first movie, and they were going to bring in Sam Raimi, I'm like, holy crap, this has the potential to be awesome. I think it's one of the MCU movies that's more influenced by its director. This is a Raimi film through and through.
Mhm.
I dare I say it, this is like Evil Dead repackaged as a Marvel movie to me. So I really appreciated that it really had its own voice. That said, they didn't do enough with the multiverse element that was promised and kind of touted throughout. They were saying this was going to have more of a horror vibe to it, which they did have here and there, but I don't think they really ran with it, especially with a director like Raimi brought on board. It didn't really deliver on a lot that was promised. They made, like Zach said, they made Wanda very much a generic kind of cookie cutter villain to the point where I borderline couldn't stand her this time. It was just never, kind of like I said with Moon Knight. It was never quite what it could have been. I think Raimi was so focused on giving it his own distinct style and putting his own stamp on it that he kind of forgot about everything else, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, all right, keeping it at B though. Brian,
All
what do you
right.
think?
So the first time I watched it, I was like, "What the hell?" and then the second time I watched it, I said, "I see where they're trying to go."
Hmm.
And then like the third time I watched it, I was like, "This is not that bad," but it would have been much better if Scott Derrickson would have still had this movie. If he would have directed this movie, I think it would have been better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first one,
Me too.
Doctor Strange, was so good, so intelligent, so insanely detailed. How great they wrote that character in the movie. It was perfect.
Top tier MCU movie.
It is literally, the story was amazing. I was in love with what they were doing with it, and I was so in love that I was excited to see this. That's kind of what the problem was. I was so anticipating, and then they kept pushing the movie back, and they kept on giving us tidbits about what could be in this movie, and then they cut so much out of the movie, so it didn't matter what it did, it was never going to reach the heights that we thought it was going to get. So when I sit back and look at it through the lens of not expecting anything and just watching it, I say it's a fine movie that should have been a superior movie, so it gets a B. It was an okay movie, just it should have been a superior. Everything that the direction they were going to go was amazing. Just I think Raimi was the wrong director. And if you're going to do a Raimi film, go full horror, go full out.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it that way. Just don't half-ass it. And that's what it did. It half did it. It was like, we're gonna go this way, but we're gonna Disney it. No, don't. Explore the characters, explore all the variants, and make it a badass movie. And they just did.
Yeah.
Give Doctor Strange a character arc.
Something. He has nothing.
Yeah. And I think I think well here like
Yeah,
I got a few. So Andy right off the bat, C for cameo, I guess, because this is really a Wanda movie with Doctor Strange being the cameo in it. Then I'm gonna skip horror for a second because I'm gonna get back to that. But House of Nurses, Derrickson wanted to do a true horror film with Doctor Strange too, but Feige nixed the idea, so they brought in Raimi for horror influence as a compromise. Which you can see,
like it should have been. This should have been amazing. This should have taken the MCU into a different direction. We should have been able to get Blade and all this other stuff from this movie because it was so much horror and just was not enough.
How dark they got. Not enough Campbell. That's always the case. That's always the case. But yeah, like you said, like they half-assed it, and that's kind of true because like it was half Raimi, half Feige. It was like, and you can tell what parts were Feige and what parts were Sam Raimi. You know, but
all different.
Yeah, yeah. Which I think if it would have been Derrickson, I think he would have went the same route as maybe Raimi, but
he would.
I don't know. I think he would have fought it harder, which is probably the reason why he left in the first place. He's like, well, I can't make the movie I want. I'm out. You know, same Edgar Wright did the same thing.
It would have taken it to a different level. All the MCU would have we would walk out of the movie theater like, wow, where are we going now?
Yeah,
because we could go any direction.
Yeah,
and that's how I should have walked out of when you opening up the multiverse and having all these character arcs that could go anywhere. We should have left thinking they did it. This could have saved all of Phase 4 if it was an unbelievable movie.
Yeah. But Horror Geek said, I don't care for either Doctor Strange movie, which is crazy. Because this one I can understand why some people might have issues with. But that first one, every time I watch it, it's just like, oh man, it's just so well done. You know,
if it's on right now, I'm gonna watch it.
You know what though? There are a lot of people that don't like that first one. There are a lot of people that think it's too trippy or it's too much.
Inception,
Inception is like a top 10 movie of all time. How can you even say Inception?
A lot of people don't like Inception,
because they don't like thinking. Use this thing on top of your head.
Civil War is one of my favorite MCU movies, and I had a girl tell me I did not like that movie, and I was like, "Why? I don't want to see them fight."
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? Like people just have their reasons for some reason.
Yeah.
Sorry,
People
Brandon, I cut you off.
No, I was just saying people who say it's Doctor Strange is too trippy. It's like pick up a Doctor Strange comic.
Let me see. Speaking of, because I've been watching Community, so this popped
up.
To
bring it up.
Yeah.
I didn't get Inception. Oh,
you said you started saving the files.
There's so many layers.
Right.
I love that, man.
Yep.
I can't wait till he shows up as the Prowler. That's gonna be amazing.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
that'd be good. But
that will be up.
But House of Nerds, I just realized I graded Loki D. I meant B. Okay. All right. B's a lot better. B's a way better.
Yeah. Now we totally understand. Now we feel better about it.
And the Doctor Strange movie can never be too trippy. That's what that's how I am, man.
Because
I expected a more trippier movie than the last one.
Thank you.
It's full of magic and all. It's a different type of MCU movie, and this should have like the first one did. I feel that this one should have opened up the door to even more magic, more fantasy, more craziness.
Yeah,
more of his supporting cast, more people from his side of the world.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
instead of making Wong,
that's another
instead of making Wong like like he's like a side character, or he's a comic relief. Well, let's give him more.
Yeah. All right. So then I'll just be quick. Mine's a B. This
one. I was just gonna say it was never as trippy as it could have been. That's all I was gonna say.
It should have been.
Yeah, it should have been. It should have been more. There should have been more multiverse. There should have been more Doctor Strange. There should have been more horror. And Wanda should never have had a redeeming arc at the end of this movie. Let her redeeming arc be in another movie, another show, whatever. Be full villain if you're gonna be full villain. Redeem yourself later. That's just me, but try to keep that one quick. But I like B2. It's just middle of the road, and it could have easily been A maybe even S, but
it should have been S because anything with Wanda
there you
should
go.
have been that good.
Yeah,
because Wanda
Doctor Strange
is
movie can
so cool.
yeah, 100%. That's House of Nerd on the side. All right, let's move on. So this one, this is another show going back to Disney Plus. Came out in June and ran through July. Miss Marvel. You know, new character. We got the first ever. We get that a little bit. Yeah. We got that in the show,
yeah, we
which
did.
That was amazing.
we got that. What do you think, Zach?
The show's
Go ahead,
never
man.
be back now. Wow, I love hearing you
Yes.
say that. Okay.
Hey,
Hey.
this is Miss Marvel's my favorite new character that from the comics that I've read in the last 5, 6, 7 years. She's a female Peter Parker, and Spider-Man my favorite superhero. She has all his issues plus the religion, and a religion that I don't know much about, and I love learning about new cultures. And a lot of people from that religion relate to her and say it's accurate. What the show did by bringing all that in and giving her Mani Vellani is the best casting that they've done in the MCU since Tony Stark and Chris Evans, and she is that character in real life. Like Tony, what's his name? Robert Downey Jr. acts like Iron Man in real life, just like Chris Evans acts like Steve Rogers in real life, and she is that character. The passion is there in the performance. I love the family. I love the storyline they did with her going back into time. I can gush over and over about this show. The only thing that held it back was the villains. The show was too short to flesh out both villains that they gave. They should have either made it about the people who were invading the mosque, or not mosque, but their temple, or about the multiverse thing that they were trying to do. But they couldn't do both really well.
And they didn't do either of them. And then I think that's the only complaint I have about the entire show.
Only complaint. But the first couple of episodes, which is her learning her powers, all the high school drama stuff, her performance. Like one of my favorite scenes is her like thinking she's falling in love with the guy, and she does like a little dance thing, and the camera work. It was some of the best directing and camera work we got in any movie or show. So yeah, I really, really love this show. I'm so excited to see her in the Marvels and whatever else she does. And she's a mutant, not a stupid inhuman. What?
They changed it.
Let me stop. I'm joking. I like the Inhumans, and I'm kind of iffy on her being a mutant, but I understand why they did it. So yeah, I don't want to talk too long. You go ahead.
What you think, Brandon?
Oh, I absolutely loved this one. I'd probably keep it as at an A as well. From the opening sequence of this show, the animated sequence that Kamala Khan was doing, you know, her energy, Iman Vellani's energy, really, really sold me on her immediately. She very much is Kamala Khan. You know, she was really in a lot of ways the driving force of the show. Also, like Zach said, I like that it did not shy away from the cultural aspect of it. It leaned into that. I don't think the show would have worked nearly as well as it did had it not. I love how they, you know, I even like the change up with her powers with the Bangles rather than her inheriting the Inhuman gene and basically being like a Reed Richards, Stretch Armstrong type. So I was fine with that as well. I think that, you know, the supporting characters like Bruno, you know, her mother, her father was great, her brother was great, the best friend was great. I think all the characters were absolutely great in this. Just so much about it worked. Like you said, I think it could have been a little bit longer, and you know, there could have been just to make way for more with the villains. I think that was its major downfall or low point, and kind of prevents me from giving it an S. Other than that, I absolutely love this.
Yeah. Cool. Brian, what you think?
I mean, I'm not going to say anything that they didn't say, but I'm probably not going to give them the same grade. First thing I want to say is this show, the whole idea of the partition, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And you know, and I am someone who likes to be, you know, know history, know about certain things. You know about the stuff in India, but you really didn't understand how Pakistani people, how people are driven out of India had to go to Pakistan. Like I didn't know about this story, And the more I read about it, the more it intrigued me. So that's my first thing that I loved about this. I did love her as Kamala Khan because she was so good. Some parts of it felt a little CW to me, and most of that comes from not having a real villain, not having a strong enough. Because when you have a strong hero, I feel like you have to have a strong villain, even if you're just learning, and that really cuts into the show for me. I enjoyed it immensely. I really did. And I say I learned from it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed her. But overall, I feel like I give it a B, but for the same exact reasons you guys are saying. Just it means more to me for the entire entity itself. I think the character I'll give like a what's above an S, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the character is great. You know, the stuff I learned is great, but the show is not, because I didn't feel like I had any villain. And then the one villain that I thought was like the mother, she was only a villain for like a show and a half. You know, it was just not done the right way. I think they could have done more with it. And I don't know if it was rushed or they were just, you know, what should have been 10 episodes or 12 episodes or something, but it was missing it. And that's why I'm giving it a B.
What are you giving me? So we got 2 A's and a B. And Andy said, enjoyed it more than this, but B for Bengal. So, but I'm giving it an A. You know, it was honestly one of my favorite shows. Bengal Plus.
Bengal Plus.
It was definitely one of my favorite shows. Like, I just connected with the character right away. It was super cool. Like, I always like when they show you like, oh, here's a different culture and religion and beliefs, but it's like it's not that different from
what you believe.
Kind of like what you like, even the way you know, she was raised as a lot of kids were raised, like, hey, you can't go to parties, like, a bad influence, this and that, you know. But then you throw in the Muslim part, plus like still being Jersey, because Jersey is still always good. Oh, Zach would know, he's over there. Like, Jersey people are always like Jersey people, no matter what you are, you know. And then you mix that with the Muslim, like Brown Jovi is one of my favorite stupid things in the MCU. So good, so good. I
the dancing stuff that they did at the wedding.
All that was amazing.
I
just think of a superhero movie, you have to have the villain.
Yeah, that's why I think it was better as a show than a movie. Because if it was a movie, then this would have been maybe a little bit farther down. But since you were able to focus more on Kamala, but the only reason why it's not an S tier is because of the villain. Like, there was not a solid villain that elevated her to the next level. You know, it was like what the hunter people, and then the other inhuman kind of people, and it was like, you know, they just both were kind of lame. You know, like, you were rooting and then it changed. But
huge to me, because I mean, S tier, Loki, that was amazing. You had definite villains there. WandaVision, you definitely had excellent villains there. But you know, but I'm looking at our ranking. I think Miss Marvel's better than What If. So, you know, if What If is an A, Miss Marvel, I have no problem being an A.
Yeah, for me, like, but if that's the only thing, that's fine for a show, because you can focus more on the character than anything else. But if it was as a movie and it didn't have a villain as a movie, I think you're missing part of it. You know what I mean? Because you can have a great villain like Wanda in Multiverse of Madness, and then it craps out in the end, you know, like how it did. Where this one was like, it never really had a villain. It had bad people that pushed her, but but
that's what made it feel CW-ish to me. Not like the writing wasn't, the storyline wasn't, but not having a villain kind of does speak into the storyline a little bit, doesn't it? Like, and I'm not arguing for it to not be an A. I'm not arguing for not to be A. I'm because me putting it at a B, I still, as I said, it's better than What If. But I just feel like not having a villain in a superhero movie is more important than not in any other regular show.
Yeah.
Well, remember, it's not a movie; it's a show.
Any other show, like a regular show, like if I'm watching a regular show and I don't have a villain, I can deal with it. But in a superhero show, I feel like you have to have a villain.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought the villains in Miss Marvel probably a little bit more better than Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, I never got their full reasoning behind Falcon and Winter Soldier's villains. Them, I got at least it sucked and they were lame, but I understood why they were the bad guys. Falcon and Winter Soldier was like, so you're pissed that the world sucks? Like, yeah, get over it. That's life, man. Like what are you talking about? This guy, and Brian tells me I'm on 24/7. Yeah.
Because you're on Twitch right now, Martin. You didn't even know, did you?
You probably is right.
I'm looking at you right now.
Recording in sleep. But yeah, so we'll use that there. All right, let's try to knock out these last little ones. Or not little ones, but last few. Where we at, Miss Marvel? All right, so the next one, we had a movie that came out in July. This one's gonna have a lot of feelings about it. Thor: Love and Thunder. Dun dun dun. Zach, let you start off.
It's a C.
Okay.
I was not surprised about the quality of the movie. I wasn't disappointed at all because I called it when Ragnarok came out. I am not the hugest fan of Ragnarok. I thought it was too silly. I thought they made Thor dumb, and everyone loved it. And I remember laughing and having fun in the movie at the time, but then when the movie ended and I started thinking about it after, I was like, what? For a movie called Ragnarok? This is what they did? And then everybody loved it. Everybody kept talking about maybe their favorite MCU movie, and I was like, "Oh, Taika's gonna go nuts in that second movie," and he did. He went absolutely nuts, and he went way too far, doing Van Damme split kicks and having the love triangles with axes.
So that split kick was not that bad because if you read this, the comics, that actually makes sense. The only thing that made sense in the first half an hour was him doing that because he's that badass.
You don't have to take everything from the comics. we know this. It doesn't have to be exactly comic accurate. Just Thor's lack of growth. Mighty Thor and Gore the God Butcher, both their storylines are two of my favorite comics that I've actually collected and I love and are epic. And I like Mighty Thor more than I like Odin's Son. And I think Natalie Portman is a good actress and that could have did the job right, but she didn't. They had her play a romantic comedy love interest who just was chasing around her boyfriend and trying to be a superhero like him. And it just was very disappointing to see that and the way they ended her arc and everything that they did with her to rush her to become Valkyrie instead of still being Thor. Gore the Butcher. Gore the I guess that's what he was butchering, right?
Because I see than gods.
Yeah, we didn't see him do. I was gonna say Chris Evans. What's his name? Christian Bale. Did the best he could with the little bit that they gave him, or the most that they cut out, because he said that they cut out a lot of his scenes.
Yeah,
but what they edited this movie down to, he barely was in the movie. When he was first introduced, he was cool. When he first showed up to Thor, where they were in New Asgard, he was cool. But it was just like, it was just too silly, man.
Yeah. Okay, Brandon. So we went to real quick. So the Spoiler Kings, it was us and some of our family, and we went to go see it at a private theater. So that was kind of fun. So that might have played into a little bit of our feelings the first viewing, but yeah. So go ahead, Brandon. What you think? Sorry about that.
I was thinking of to D, but I'm gonna be a little lenient on it, even at C as well.
Okay.
When I heard that Waititi was like Ragnarok, but I think the difference between this movie and Ragnarok is Waititi actually had a little more balance between the comedic and the serious. This time, what really didn't sit well with me is that every time something serious happened, or every time something serious almost happened, Taika felt the need to undercut it with a screaming goat or some gag or some lame joke. And most of the humor this time for me didn't even land. Or he was shoehorning his Guns N' Roses hard on. If he ran with Yeah, that's why we're here, right? If he ran with the tone that was set with the opening scene of this movie with the introduction to gore was awesome. If he ran with that tone with some humor here and there, I think it would have been amazing. This would have been up there with Ragnarok for me. But as it stands, I most of the time I didn't know if I was watching a Thor movie or an SNL sketch. He turned the character of Thor into a complete freaking goober this time. At least in Ragnarok, and I think Infinity War, the character was at his best. And he turned him into a joke. Mighty
Thor's hammer for this review.
Yeah, Mighty Thor was
the better Thor.
Yeah, and Mighty Thor was cool enough, but they didn't really run as well as far as they could have with the cancer storyline, because like I said, whenever they kind of tease something serious in that regard, or the threat of something serious, it was undercut with something dumb. I will give it that visually it was great. Like the battle, like the black and white fight on Thor's planet, wherever he was at, was cool. There were things about it in that regard that kind of worked from a visual standpoint, and Christian Bale just making the most of his limited screen time. Those were really the only things about this movie that worked for me. But other than that, it was Taika failed.
Yeah. Okay. Brian?
We're gonna do a new thing. We're gonna say make Thor again.
Oh no.
My problem was that Taika went too far, and Taika mishandled Thor.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I'm saying that because I feel like Taika saved Thor in Ragnarok, but then it's because I think Kevin Feige was holding on to the reins, right? And then it did so well that Taika was like, "Hey, I can do this without you, Kevin. Just let me try." And Kevin said, "All right, go ahead and go." And Taika went off the damn deep end, and that's the damn problem. He tried to do it was too much Taika, not enough story. And I think Taika forgot this is still based in comic book lore.
Yeah.
This is still based in comic book like storylines. When you forget that, you forget the essence of what it makes it what it is. And I feel like the movie lost what it was.
Okay.
And as I said, the Russo brothers probably did a better job with Thor than anybody. But they need their feelings to it. And they had goofy parts too. But they knew when to make it serious when it needed to be serious. They needed to make him a badass when he's a badass. He needs to show they made Thor look like he's an idiot, and he's brilliant. He's been around for thousands of years. He's a strategic, another king like that. Like he is that good at battle. And we lost that with Taika, and everything. As I said, everything had to be a joke.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. And
yeah,
as much as I want to push it to a B, it gotta stay at a C.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So what's up, Brandon?
Hey,
Brandman
Brandon.
Stinky. So real quick, Andy Bush said B for Bale.
Gotta look like Christian Bale in that picture.
Yeah,
Second greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. Right now, we're trying to finish. We still got like 5 more movies. So I'll be quick with it. My problem wasn't with Thor. People are so angry about Thor with this one. Every time it was time for him to be serious, he was serious. The problem was there's only like 2 times he needed to be serious in this. Then, because I was like, yeah, when there's the whole cancer thing, he got serious. At the end, it was stupid, but like he understood, like, I need people to fight, so I'm gonna give these kids power. That really wasn't a Thor issue. That was being stupid issue. But my biggest issue was Gore, the not God butcher, and Mighty Thor. I want to see Mighty Thor. Like, we have a picture of what's her name, like floating in the sky, and it looks like she's getting transformed. We never got that, and I was waiting for that moment. I was waiting for that moment of her to like actually lift the hammer, and all we got was like a little zap, and then next thing you know, like she's been Thor for a while. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So once again, so he focused on the jokes instead of focusing on the stuff we want. Gore, God butchering, Mighty Thor becoming Mighty Thor, and Thor becoming Thor Odinson. That's what he was supposed to. That's what the movie was supposed to be. Those three things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with how his story kind of ended. It just I wanted more chances for Thor to be serious, you know, because like the only two times was the cancer scene and when he's standing in front of Zeus and telling Zeus, and then you know they even make that kind of because Thor was serious in that moment.
Serious. That wasn't even serious because they made.
But Thor was serious, but
the
the scenario around it was serious. So it's like, oh, hey, here's this super serious thing, and around it is just clowns. You know, it's like it undercuts the seriousness of that moment. You know, so Thor was like, hey, we really need your help. We're all gonna die, and everyone's like, you know, honking and you know, jumping on pogo sticks and you know, want to have orgies.
But
so
can you not still think? I mean, no gore, no God butchering.
But that's what I'm saying. Gore and Mighty Thor were major
showed
letdowns.
up to that party and killed a couple people.
Exactly, and it would have 100% everything.
You led me exactly where I wanted to be.
Do you not understand? Also, what was the point of him going there if he could change the kids to gods?
Yeah.
What the hell? So they did the whole Odinson thing without making him Thor Odinson. That's my problem. You just skipped over the whole storyline.
Yeah.
What you saying, Brandon?
There's a lot of issues.
No, I was just going to say, you don't hire an actor of Christian Bale's caliber and then just waste him like that, just underuse him like that. I was so hyped at the prospect of him being in an MCU movie, you know, and, you know, in addition to not giving Gore like a montage, at least one montage of him going from planet to planet, just taking out other gods. You just...
Yeah.
Very cool concept, not delivered.
Yeah. Agreed. So let's try to go a little bit quicker with these last five because we've already been out for an hour and a half. Let's see, the next one. This one should be pretty quick. I know Zach. I don't know if you got to see it yet, but I Am Groot.
So I'm tapping out of this one.
Yeah. I'll just let you guys. What do you guys think? Didn't really have any effect in the MCU.
I'll give I Am. That's exactly what I was about to say. So you could go ahead and put that at a C. It was a harmless show. There was nothing. I really can't even say that I disliked it, but at the same time, well, there is no same time. You know, it was cutesy enough. It was strictly for kids. You know, it was just a fun little romp, quick watch. You could finish it literally in a matter of minutes. You know, it was cutesy. You know. Just a little Guardians of the Galaxy cash in. It didn't really need to be made, but at the same time, I wasn't hurt by it. So it was cute enough. That's really all I have to say about it.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I'm cool with it. I would put it as a B, but not really because I don't see it being better than anything else. Yeah.
I feel like it was fun. A score. It doesn't even deserve like an answer. Like we could put it whatever you want to put it. But it doesn't deserve anything because it just it wasn't anything. It had no anything. Like it deserves a E for effort.
Free. It was fun.
It looked like it was for kids.
It was.
My kids didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah, my kids didn't like it at all. They're like, this is stupid. My 6-year-old said it was stupid.
Damn.
Yeah, well, there you go. the core audience member. There you go. And we got C for cartoon. Yeah, I'm keeping that at a C. So, yeah. I didn't hate it where I would put it at a D, but
it's not D.
It was fun.
No one cared.
Yeah. All right. So we're coming down to the ones that probably have the most feelings behind it. So here we got She-Hulk. Came out in August and it ran through October. Oh boy, this. Careful what you say, because one way or another, somebody's coming after you. Doesn't even matter. So, but She-Hulk. What do you think, Brandon? Zach.
Yeah, I'm back in it. I saw this. I'm struggling between a B and an A. I'm going to give it a B because so I really, really love this show as a B. Like people, when you say love, it has to be an S or A. No, you can love a C and understand it as a C, and I love it as a B. I think Tatiana, other than Amani Villani as Miss Marvel, I think Tatiana Maslany is another great casting for the character. I think she does a great job as both She-Hulk and Jennifer Walters. I like the concept of the show. I like that they went for it. I liked most of the episodes, especially that bonkers finale and the Daredevil episode and the first couple. I think the issue with the show for me and why it's not an A or S is that there's some weak episodes there where I felt like this is not as good as some of the other ones. And the comedy aspect, the story aspect, and the character aspect were just like not as good. Like you have to hit it on one of those three on a weaker episode, and there's episodes that happened where none of them were up to par, and there's like two episodes like that in the 9 episodes, or maybe 3 episodes of the 9 episodes that was like that. But I really enjoyed Madison. You don't know where the S is or the L is, whatever that was. I enjoyed the rest of the supporting cast. I love the world building with the introduction of other mutants. I love Tatiana Maslany's character arc. From the shy, I just want to not be seen person, struggling, don't want to have powers, and going through all that and the different layers to that. I enjoyed that this didn't have a villain necessarily, like a direct villain. The fact that the villain was the viewers, I thought that was pretty funny, pretty meta, because She-Hulk is a meta character. She talks to us in the comic books a lot of the times, and I feel like the writers understood that and was talking to a lot of people. Like there was stuff that they were doing in the show, and then after the episode was done, I'll go on Twitter, and the same things that they said that the people was going to say on social media in the show was like verbatim on Twitter, and I was like, you guys understand what's happening.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's like there was just certain episodes that just wasn't funny, and certain times the story didn't feel super focused. So if the unfunny episodes were more funny, or the story was a little bit more focused on those episodes, then I think the show would have been much better. But I enjoyed what I got.
Okay, Brandon. Yeah, I think he's trying to figure it out.
You know, I'm kind of torn between A and B too. This is tough. I'm gonna give this one. I can leave it at B as well. I really liked the. I was really hooked from the moment that they announced Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk. She's a great actress. I've been a big fan since Orphan Black. You know, anyone who ever questions this woman's acting prowess need only look at that show. So she was a big selling point. I also liked the fact that they touted it and ultimately executed it as a legal comedy. It was because that's exactly what it was. It was like Ally McBeal with a superhero, which I thought was a pretty fun, you know, route to take in that regard. I loved the fourth wall breaks. I loved how meta they were with it. I think that one of the places that didn't quite work for me is when it came to Jennifer Walters' character arc, it seemed like they were kind of going somewhere, and then they took several steps backward with her. By that I mean it's like, oh, she's kind of coming out of her shell, she's kind of breaking away from, you know, the shy little mousy lawyer that she is. Oh no, she's taking several steps backward, and they kind of rinsed and repeated that a couple times as far as I'm concerned. I loved the inclusion of Daredevil. I liked that he was more comic booky, more acrobatic in that regard. I like a little callback to the trademark corridor fights from his Netflix series. They even kind of did that. I thought that was cool too. There were a lot of things about it that I liked, but at the same time, I think it kind of where they kind of went wrong, or what didn't quite work for me, was the character arc of Jennifer Walters at times. And it kind of caused the show a couple episodes here and there to kind of drag. But other than that, I had a really fun time watching it.
Okay. A B. Brian?
I feel like I'm always the bad guy. Like I'm the villain. I'm the villain of this episode.
You're the villain.
I feel like, you're
the villain that all the shows need.
Like either you're the hero or you live long enough as a hero to become the villain. And I'm becoming the villain, guys. Because honestly, the show, I love the idea, I love the character, I love the casting, and this whole show should have been 6 episodes. And there are 3 things you could have thrown the hell out, and it wouldn't have changed crap. And I disagree about the writing. I think the writing was terrible in a lot of places. It was awful, and I think they didn't do a good job at continuing stories. It ran in place too often. Like it just literally there'll be one show, then the next show, be like, did I even need to see this show? Like I could have just watched the next episode, skipped this episode, and had the same storyline. And I want to like it. I want to give it a B, but it's in the C range for me, man. It just didn't deliver where it should have delivered. The character, the casting, I love her, but that's where it kind of stays. Yeah. It felt like she wasn't strong enough, or they didn't write her strong. They didn't write her strong enough to carry this episode, these episodes. And too often they had to bring a cameo. Man, why? I was like, why are you bringing a cameo? Let's focus on her. Let's go on her character arc. Let's go on a journey with her. And she really only did three things, and they did the same three things over and over and over and over again, and played the same story over and over and over and over again. And I just didn't like the writing. I think that's just what it is. I love the idea. I love the concept. I love her. I just don't like the writing.
Yeah. Can I do a real quick counterpoint to what he said about the over and over again thing?
Yeah,
I want to hear.
It is a sitcom, and that is what sitcoms do. They do the same shit over and over for 12 episodes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I got to say that. I got to give them that. Like they did take the sitcom route.
But you have to give me the story too.
What was the story of Friends?
See, but that's the issue is it's
not Friends.
This isn't just, it isn't Friends. They were trying to go for a sitcom, and if they did, it missed. But that's also the issue too, is for me, like, that's kind of what I was going to get at too, was Seinfeld. At the end of every episode, nothing mattered. It was a show about nothing. That's cool when each episode is like that, and then each episode starts over and it's just the same thing. This one like had through points, but my biggest issue was I loved the last episode. It was great. It was funny. It was super like meta and crazy, but it invalidated the entire season. I didn't need to know anything. I didn't care about the blood thing because it didn't matter. I didn't care about Abomination because it didn't matter in the end. Like you made me watch a season that at the end of the season you told me, hey, none of it matters except for Daredevil and her are gonna bang. That's it. It was like, and then we got a shitty Scar. It was like
you hated that. Yeah.
Oh, I hated that Scar.
Right.
I hated that Scar. And then getting like them telling you like, oh, this was a concept. I was like, why didn't we get that? That was so much better. Like,
way better.
We got Timothy Chalamet in like a fucking green face, it's like in a bad haircut, so like for me, it's a C.
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm surprised that you put it as C because I know how much you really hated that last scene, Scar. You were pissed.
Oh, I love Scar. I love Scar. But the last episode was really funny. I had a great time with it. But then at the end of the episode, I was like, oh, so everything I just watched, the last 6 weeks, none of it mattered. None of it mattered.
To be fair,
it could have went from episode 1 to episode 6, and that was it.
Yeah, like literally, like some of those episodes didn't even matter.
Even if there was a storyline, like that was the thing, there was no storyline in this because at the end, it was all wiped away. Like Abomination still in jail and then gets taken out by Wong for some reason. And it's just
nothing happened.
Nothing happened, which is fine if you're Seinfeld and you're a legit sitcom that's on for 15 years or whatever, but it said it was a sitcom, but there's no way it could have ever been a sitcom because you're trying to world build. You can't world build with a sitcom.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't do that. So for me, I'm gonna put it down here in a C. So we're at 2 B's and a C. But
I got a C too. So it's 2 C's, 2 B's,
2 C's, and 2 B's. But
2 B's, 2 C's.
I don't know how, Andy, is this your actual rating for it? Because Andy is giving it an A for attorney, but like attorney,
gotta go
which
back
is funny. So that's gonna shoot it back up to a B if Andy's
real. then it has to be a B. But I don't.
Yeah, I don't see it. But if Andy's real, we'll put it up here because I hit the wrong screen.
He said A minus.
All right,
I still puts it at B. That still
puts it at a B, which is for me insane because I thought Hawkeye was better than She-Hulk.
I thought Moon Knight was definitely better than She-Hulk.
I did too.
Moon Knight, the character, She-Hulk, the character was so good. I feel like they could have went so many different ways. And the first 2 episodes, just for me, I loved. I thought they could have done anything. It could have been so great.
Yeah, but it could have every episode. Yeah, every episode should have been like episode 6. If they wanted to do a legit sitcom, every episode should have been episode 6. Where
how many
here's a problem.
Or
episode
12, right? Or 10?
No.
It was 9 episodes.
9 episodes. It was not. So, and that's
episode
why
9.
I thought it should have been 6.
Yeah, sorry.
They should have kicked out 3 of them. They should have kicked out 3 of those episodes because 3 of those episodes didn't even matter at all. And it should have been 6. And then the storyline would have been a little bit better. It
could have been 12 if every episode was like the last episode. Have a problem, make it not count by the end. Have a problem, make it not count by the end. Cool. Then none of it would have mattered, and then I would not have been on the edge of my seat. Like, why do they want the blood? Who's that? Oh my God, is it the leader? And that was the issue for me. But Andy's giving in a, he's giving in a.
And hey, it's fine.
All right, so let's move on. So we got the next one, Werewolf by Night. It is Marvel's first, special presentation?
Halloween special, yeah.
Yeah, I like a Halloween special like that. Very different, not directly tied to the MCU, but kind of maybe later. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
callbacks to Thor and stuff like that in it.
Yeah. So, what are you giving it, Zach?
I'll give it a B.
Okay.
I like that it was different. I like all the aspects around it. I like the observation of it, but I was never drawn into emotionally. And I think that was my issue why it's not higher. I like the black and white. I like that Michael Giacchino's the first time in directing. I like that they got an actress I really like from the Nevers in it. I like that it was horror kind of, and they did some blood and gore. I love the way they did Man-Thing.
Yeah.
But the actual story and the plot and the characters, I didn't feel fully invested in, connected to. And that might be possible because it was so short.
It was so short. It was a short entity just in your taste.
Like with Guardian special, I know these characters already, so it can be short because I'm already connected. I'm in. Just tell me the story. But these are brand new. Everybody was brand new. There was no MCU character that I knew that was in the situation, and we're introduced to all these people. I'm learning all these new people. Some of I was just like, okay, this is cool. It's moving at a brisk pace. And then when it ended, I was like, I wanted a lot more. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it, and it's so different. But like the emotional attachment just wasn't there.
Yeah. Okay, Brandon.
I'm gonna rank this much higher. This was actually one of my more favorite things from the MCU. I have to give this an S.
Wow.
I really enjoyed this one.
Kind of balances it here then. Yeah. Okay.
I like how it really, from the jump, it's really like, this is what you know about the MCU. These are the heroes, now get ready for the supernatural side. I really like how it jumps like headfirst into that in that regard. From an artistic standpoint, I love the creative choice of them going black and white with this. That was excellent. I really liked the actors they got. Gal Garcia Bernal. I love the way they did the character of Jack Russell. I really loved Man-Thing. I'm hoping we see more of both of them moving forward. I really liked it. Had like a throwback Universal Monsters vibe to it, which really hooked me in. Like Zach said, we didn't really have too much of an emotional attachment to the characters, but at the same time, there's a part of me kind of going in and knowing the runtime that it was just under an hour that I kind of anticipated what we were getting in that regard. So I wasn't too disappointed. It kind of gave me what it promised, Halloween special. It was fun to watch during the month of October as I was gearing up for Halloween. So really, there was a lot of fun to be had as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, cool. Brian?
A.
So stays there. All right, now. All right.
I
Okay.
liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, once again, it being a special, and you knew what I was getting out of it, and I know the story, and you understand Wolfman and all this. You understand these things already because it's just something that you inherently know. So I didn't mind. I didn't need the emotional attachment. I just loved the feel. I love the cinematography of it. I love the ideas. I love the direction they went. I thought that it was ingenious, and I'm not giving that S because I agree there was no attachment to the characters. Do I really remember more than 2 characters? Not really. I know they're there, but did I really care? Not really. The Ruby, when I saw the redness on it and how it changed the entire scene, unbelievable, awesome. But just overall, it was fun. So hey.
And then Horror Geek gave it an A. It's fun, quick, gothic horror. And I agree with that. Yeah, it was super fun. It was nice and short, so nice, self-contained thing. I didn't even think it was gonna be connected to the MCU at all. Like, I'm like, whatever. And technically, it's not yet, but I think it is because I have theories on stuff. But for what it was, I think the main 2 things you need to get out of it were, well, 3. One, the girl, I don't even remember her name because like she was kind of forgettable. But Jack Russell, which is a great funny name, as a werewolf, and Man Thing, and stuff like that. So I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm gonna leave it at an A for me. The same, and not quite an S tier because I didn't have an emotion attachment to it, and I think them releasing it in October was even the best possible thing. The best thing is like, oh, we're gonna give you a cool old school horror film, with some Marvel characters that you don't know yet. But I think in retrospect, 5 years from now, this show might be a little bit more important than we think if they want to go certain ways with like multiverse stuff. I think it'll be cool. But yeah, I'm gonna give it an A. But yeah, I pretty much almost agree with a lot of people, especially the emotion thing. I really didn't think about it because there was always something missing. I was like, oh yeah, that's why I don't care a lot about these characters yet. So yeah, cool. So I'm gonna go a little bit out of order because technically what's next is Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And I feel like that's gonna have a lot of things. So I'm gonna skip. So technically, Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, is being called the epilogue of Phase 4. So it's still technically Phase 4, but they're calling it, I don't know why, the epilogue of Phase 4.
Like No Way Home.
Like No Way Home, kind of.
Far From Home, I should have said.
Yeah. For Phase, what was that? Phase 4? No, 3, right? Yeah. So, yeah. So we just kind of reviewed it too. So, we do some quick thoughts on it. Zach, where are you placing it?
I'm gonna give it a B. Thought it was great.
Okay.
I really liked it. I just had, like I said when we did the review, I just had a problem with Drax, and it was just a fun story. Like, it wasn't nothing too crazy or anything like that. It was heartwarming. It's a really great Christmas special that you can watch every year and not get tired of. They had a lot of cool, fun fan moments. And Kevin Bacon was great. He just didn't dance, and that always will bring it down.
What you got? Oh, real quick, B for bacon. There you go. Brandon, what you giving the holiday special with the Guardians?
I'll go A for this one. It was really, really entertaining. It was even heartfelt at times with the whole, especially the element of then the reveal with Mantis and Quill being siblings. I thought that was great that they incorporated that. I always knew at some point in time there was going to have to be some payoff in the Guardians franchise with Kevin Bacon. I was, if I had it my way, it would have been like in Volume 3, like having him show up as like Adam Warlock or High Evolutionary or something like that. But that's neither here nor there. But the way they did this was fun and it fit very, very well. Like Zach said, I was kind of expecting a dance off. Well, I was definitely expecting a dance off, but you know, the way they kind of incorporated it, you know, the hijinks with the Drax and Mantis, that was a lot of fun. I think Rocket Raccoon is my favorite Guardians character. There wasn't enough of him for me, but the bits that there were, especially with him getting the gift that he always wanted, and even Cosmo the Space Dog, that was fun too. So overall, it was a really entertaining time, and I was really interested in this from the day it was announced almost 2 years ago. Like, holy crap, James Gunn is doing a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. This is probably going to be like everything that the Star Wars holiday special failed to be decades back, and it was, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so we got an A and a B. Brian,
Brandon, have you given anything lower than a B? You're too nice.
Yeah,
you're so nice. I'm the asshole, but I like.
No, you gave
I like this. I really do. I just hate to see all those things on A because I don't think this phase 4 is an A phase. So it's hard for me.
Start looking at it.
I'll start
looking at it.
I don't think this is an A phase. I might need to. I would readjust some of these things, but regardless, I'm still
maybe it's not as bad as you think it is.
No,
exactly.
No, it is. No, it is. I'm going to give it an A still. I just like it. I thought it was very heartwarming. It was everything it was supposed to be. Everything it was supposed to be, that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know, and I smiled at Peter Quill, and all of this was awesome. The music was
Michael
awesome.
Rooker was good.
Everything was just good. I enjoyed it. So, A.
Yeah. I'm putting in A too. I mean, Andy's putting in a B, but I thought it was fun. You know, it was everything that where we said about Werewolf by Night can also apply for this one. It's like, and you know, maybe the story wasn't as entertaining because it was very like just like goofy, which is funny, whatever. But I did have emotional attachments to like, you know, some of these more characters than I did with the other one. You know, like them just having Yondu in it was amazing. You know, animated, whatever, it was awesome. I like that. You know, I like the whole memory being animated. You know, and then even like, what's his name? Not telling the whole story, because then like, you know, Peter tells the rest of the story because like, yeah, Yondu wasn't that bad of a guy kind of thing, you know. So I thought that was kind of like sweet and cool. But yeah, I like the duo of Drax and Mantis were fun, and then obviously Kevin Bacon in it was cool. And even the music, you know, the new songs, you know, that Christmas song, how aliens, you know, see Christmas was amazing, and even the one with Kevin Bacon at the end was kind of cool. But yeah, it was a fun time for me. Like I just enjoyed it. Like I watched it again the other day. So just because it was short with 2, which is like perfect for something like that.
Nice and sweet.
Yeah, nice and sweet. And that's the other thing, Brian. You're like, oh, this is not an A phase. You know, I think the bad things make you think it's worse than what it is.
See, what it is I would grade some things differently. Like I would probably give 2 Ds. I probably would have given, you know, it's nothing superior about it, but I probably would give less A's. I probably would have more B's. So I would have been more of a bell curve of my grading, and that's kind of why I look at them like, yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
What's your 2 Ds?
Yeah. What are you? Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about it because it's gonna make people upset.
Well,
can't make everyone happy.
Yeah. But for me, I think all the A's belong there for sure. For me, all the A's belong there.
I don't know. I think I almost want to give WandaVision that push to S.
I'm cool with that too. You know
what I'm saying? Like I'm at that point where I think I'm looking at WandaVision. I'm like, man, I'm thinking this might be an S. Honestly,
but if anything, that goes against what you think. Like you're like, it's even better of a phase because you're like, it's not good. Now you're taking another one, making it better.
I'm also making 2 Ds. So like once again, I'm more of a bell curve type of person. You know, but it's.
He said in part 1 that if we can't put 3 things in S, he would put WandaVision back up in S.
That's exactly what.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
So we got one last thing.
I'm not putting that in S, so you could go ahead and move it down.
Well, let's see what the people. So this one's got a lot of feeling behind it, whether you agree or not. But like I don't want to rehash a full on argument. We are going on 3 hours, which we didn't want to do.
Worried about doing.
So if you want to see all of ours plus the Cult Lords, you can go check out our full reviews, our full talk, everything spoiler. So here we're going to kind of try to keep it short. I don't want to get too in depth of it. But
just don't let me talk.
just wait, I think I have a
shut your mouth.
There you go. So, all right, Zach, where are you placing Wakanda Forever?
Oh yeah, let me do this real quick. A placement.
Okay.
Namor, Kukulkan, dope. Love Shuri. Love what the fuck? Riri Williams. I love the tribute. I love the tribute to Chadwick Boseman and the character T'Challa. I love the seriousness of the movie, but I think that Eric Ross and his storyline was lacking and not fleshed out enough, and it didn't come together in the third act enough for it to mean something. It should have spent more time on Wakanda if they weren't going to bring that back in the third act.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there you go. Brandon, what you thinking?
I'm gonna give this a B.
Okay. In between here.
Yeah. For the rock and the hard place that they found themselves between, it really handled things very, very well, especially the themes of loss and grief. You know, the cold open was very, very effective. It definitely had me feeling a certain way throughout the entire movie from pretty much beginning to end. So if they had to write Boseman out, which, you know, we could go on about our feelings about that all day if we wanted to, I think they did handle that very well. The character of Namor was done really, really well. Tenoch Huerta was awesome. I think if I would do something different, though, a lot of the world building kind of felt shoehorned if they were going for more of this kind of smaller, kind of interpersonal story dealing with loss and grief and coming to grips with all that. It really didn't need all the world building. It didn't need Ross. It didn't need Val. It really didn't need to even worry about establishing a bigger universe. They could have just told their story that they wanted to tell if they were going that route. I would have been fine with this being kind of like a self-sustained kind of standalone.
Yeah. Okay. Then real quick before Brian goes, Chillmonger, what's up? Shout out to Chill. Go check out Chillmonger. I know he has a lot of stuff about the recast of T'Challa too, but his Sunday show, the 33 Burning MCU Questions, is always fun. Saturday show is super fun. Hopefully I can join one day. Hopefully I get a Saturday off where I can actually join in, because I know both of you guys were in there. But he's saying the movies were stronger than the series. It looks that way. I don't know.
It's a mixture.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a mix. And then Andy, S for Sad Shuri. Which is funny. All right, Brian, give me your rating for this one.
All right,
we got an A, we got a B.
Guys, if I start getting to the weeds, just cut me off. All right. I love Namor as a character. I didn't like a lot of what they did in Wakanda. I don't like that there's no, besides M'Baku, they got rid of all the strong black men in Wakanda. I didn't like that. I didn't like the way they made the story. Obviously, I'm a recast person, so I didn't like that. Just, I think a lot of things didn't make sense the more I thought about it. What they did, even the things they did with T'Challa didn't make sense. You know, as Tank has eloquently spoken about him, why would he keep things away from his family if he bitched at his dad, went to the ancestral plane to yell at his dad for doing the same thing? Why would he then turn around and do the same exact thing? There's so many things I have problems with, but a lot of the things I have problems with, I recognize it's just because of who I am and what my favorite character is and what my favorite comic book is. It has less to do with this movie. But I don't like that when this movie was made, the first movie was made and made black people really stand up together and really be happy and really be proud of what they saw. You know, something that wasn't touched by all the outsiders, that how we were able to do so much and come together and be so great, yet still hold on a lot of our own traditions and culture, and then they turned around and they added so many black tropes into it, intentionally or not intentionally. You know, like, so now this boy is being raised without a father figure again, away from his home, you know, across the Atlantic. Like there's so many little things, like, you know, the loss of the family. So now those most powerful country in the world, the most technologically advanced country in the world, can't keep their own king and queens safe. As I said, the whole not having strong black characters, all the strong black male characters were gone. I mean, there's just so many little tropes that I didn't like that bothers me. But once again, that has more to do with me and not necessarily the movie. Because I think Namor was an incredible character, even though they're not going to be able to do anything else with it because they don't own the rights to it.
Yeah, which sucks.
Which
any solo stuff.
Any solo stuff.
There everywhere else. Yeah. It's Loki.
I just
D for lack of doom. I'll give you that. I mean, stereotypes.
The Mexican stereotypes. Yeah,
some of those.
Yeah,
being like what I said, being the savages. You know,
exactly.
The savage Aztecs. You know?
Even though they're the first great empire in all of the Western world, like
they invented zero, like legit. Like
they
zero,
like time, like in telling time and figuring how to build all these things, and it's just
aqueducts.
There's so many problems I have.
Yeah.
But once again, I believe it's because of me. So I'm going to give it a C, but understand it's because of me, not because of necessarily how the movie. Because I left the movie, wasn't sure how I felt about it. To take some time. I felt like the movie was well done. I just don't like what the movie did.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we got an A, we got a C, and you gave it we got an A from Zach,
2 A's,
a B,
and 1 C.
No, you gave it a B, right, Brandon?
Brandon gave it a B.
Yeah, Brandon gave it a B, and then you got a C, so it's kind of averaged out at B right now. And then also we got a Horror Geek. I love the introduction of Talokan. It was also a great recast. The team recast. I'm also team recast, but I get it. Yeah, you know, I don't even want to think about that right now because that's not what this movie is. They gave us them killing T'Challa.
Again.
I mean, there is again. There's a whole so like I said, that's a whole nother argument that we can get into if we've been into a bunch of times. But one of my biggest issue right off the bat is it's called Wakanda Forever, and besides the throne room 3 times and the one beachfront, that was it. That was all of Wakanda we got. That's it. Like what? It's called Wakanda Forever, and we weren't in Wakanda
for a whole country.
Yeah, and the only time we were outside of the throne room, Wakanda gets destroyed. So okay, thanks. Like for like I don't know. I like that, so I think you're trying to do that with Wakanda. You also introduced Talokan, which was cool, but very short, but I get it too. Like Talokan, it wasn't the main part of it. It's supposed to be Wakanda Forever. So if I would have got more Wakanda and the same amount of Talokan, I would have been cool, but they got almost the same amount of time, on screen. So I was like, but Namor, definitely one of my favorite characters. Love the retcon. I want to see them do that in the comic book, like retcon Namor in the comic to that. Like that's what I want. And find a way to get it from Universal. Universal don't know what the hell they're doing over there.
And Hulk.
And Hulk, exactly. I think they're getting Hulk from what
they're supposed to get Hulk in 2024.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell. When I found out like they don't have the rights to Namor, I was like, come on, you made this great character, and then Universal owns it. Come on, Kevin Feige. So I wouldn't be surprised if Universal decides they want to do a Namor movie now. Just because the work has been done, which is so stupid. But as a movie, I like same like Ryan. I have a lot of feelings about it. I don't think they respected Chadwick the way Chadwick wanted to be respected. They respected him the way they wanted to respect him, which are 2 different things. I thought they disrespected T'Challa in the movie, just by the way Killmonger was talking about him. I don't even want to get into the post credit scene because that's a whole nother thing. Man, I'm stuck. Right now. I'm stuck between a B and a C. Andy's giving it a B. I already know how Chill feels about it. So, also still pick the leader by fighting on a waterfall. Yeah, so I mean, Ramonda didn't fight on a waterfall. How did she just become queen for a year?
She's always been queen.
Yeah,
just look.
He's the king.
Just look at just look at Angela Bassett's like bicep and shoulder game. Would you want to fight that?
Hey,
No.
hey, she'll Tina Turner you. We'll be out there like Ike, like.
Like, I didn't even say anything, man. We punching people. Chadwick kept his sickness private, and Marvel advertised it all the way. That's what I was like. He wanted it private. He was fighting it privately, and you plastered it on trailers and walls and stuff like that. So for me, plus all the stuff he said about roles and actors and stuff like that. So I mean, I'll probably give it I'm stuck between a B and a C. Andy's giving it a B. I'm okay with the movie being very mid, and B is very mid, but like I said, I walked out of this theater at the end of the movie after the post-credit scenes, very upset, just because I felt like it was disrespectful, but I love Neymar. Neymar was literally the saving grace from it. Shuri was okay. She was okay. She can't carry a movie. Letitia Wright is not a great actress to carry a movie. Shuri's a somewhat interesting character, but without anybody around her, it's not.
Letitia
Shuri needs T'Challa
eventually. I think someone said this before. It was actually in Chillmonger's video that it would have been so great if you had T'Challa there and he was able to pass the mantle on to Shuri and then both to elevate each other at the same time. I would love to see black men and black women both being elevated at the same time. I think there's so many opportunities that we really missed out on. But once again, these are my own personal feelings, and that's not necessarily take away from the movie. It's just my feelings about certain tropes that we have in this day and age.
Yeah.
That I feel like they got away with. They got away from this, and one thing in the first movie, and they brought it back in the second, and that hurts me even more.
There you go. K-Dot said that.
K-Dot did say that. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm okay with B. I know House of Nerd Show. He put S tier. He thought it was the best MCU movie ever. Like legit, like ever. He thinks it was one of the best MCU movies of all time, of all 35 or whatever there are.
I can agree with that, but not ever. It's not the best one. Endgame exists.
This is, but that's also because he felt like he finally had something that represented him.
Yeah, which I get.
And thinking that representation means so much.
No, it's Namor with a.
Oh, he's Spanish.
He's Hispanic.
Yeah.
He's Hispanic,
Yeah.
And he feels like the Namor represents him. So seeing that representation, I understand where he comes from. But he listened to what I had to say and totally understood where I was coming from and why I'm so angry about certain parts of it.
Yeah.
It is.
Because imagine in the next one, they say like, "Oh, Namor drowned." Here's the new Namor, Namora. It's like that's what would be.
This is what we did.
So, but I'm okay with that. There it is, man. All MCU.
Wait, before we save it,
Phase 4.
I promised. I said WandaVision. If we didn't have any up there, you should go to S.
I'm cool with that. I am 100% cool with that because I love WandaVision too. I wanted more of it. Any last changes? Anybody want to make an argument for anything? So she was gonna be disappointed when Namor isn't depicted as Latino anymore.
There will be a riot.
Yeah, I really like Namor. Real quick though, I think there's rumors I've been hearing. It might just be a bunch of BS, but I heard they are gonna change Namor in the comics, like when they reintroduce him or redo whatever new storyline. He's gonna be this Mesoamerican kind of character.
That's probably fake because they just gave him a new comic recently.
Did they? Oh, well, there you go. Probably fake.
Uh,
Well, and then if he's not showing up in Disney as that character, then it's probably not going to happen. Like Disneyland,
Yeah.
Avengers, whatever it's called. But
the Telecon version.
Yeah, right. That'd be cool. Well, they have Avengers Campus. That's what it's called. Like they just like after the movie dropped, they introduced Shuri Black Panther at and then they had a funeral for T'Challa at Avengers Campus, which
let's just stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to put What If down to a B.
Well, Brandon,
I was thinking about that myself.
Yeah. Okay. Same thing.
I'm just looking at
that's
this
exactly what I was going to mention, because I was kind of flip flopping on What If. I know last week, and originally I started back to a B, and then I put it in A, and now I'm thinking I'd like to put it as back as a B.
A B plus, like it'll be in front
because,
of Doctor Strange, but it's a B plus. It's okay, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I would have been fine with it being with each episode being completely disconnected. Kind of like the Twilight Zone. I didn't need some kind of payoff near the end, and I think that really kind of hurt the show for me. I didn't need a team up at the end. I would have been fine with the individual standalone episodes, and that really, the fact that they felt obligated to do what they did at the end presented a big problem to me. So I have to put that as a definite B and leave it there this time. I can't budge from that anymore.
when I originally put it at a B.
Yeah, he originally had it to be, and that's why.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, did you have it there? But okay, so we're moving. What If? Any last movements?
I hated Eternals. But I respect it more, because I literally hated it only because emotionally I didn't get invested, and also there's too many characters. So but saying it'll be a bad movie, I can't say it. So I can't say it's a bad movie, because in watching it again, it's better than Black Widow.
I think it should be moved up to a B, but that's hard because you don't like it and Tank doesn't really care for it. So,
yeah, I cannot see it being up there with like Doctor Strange.
Anywhere higher than a C is just where it is.
Not for me. Number 2, maybe. I got high hopes for number 2, but what else? Anything else moving around? Chat. We got horror geek, Andy, chill.
I don't see anything else that's like really stands out besides Moon Knight for me. But you guys said what you guys are saying, so I think that's my Zach. Like what Zach's saying about Eternals is how I feel about Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, Chill doesn't like Loki. That's right.
Oh yeah. I love Loki. I thought Loki was one of the best things.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I agree, Chill. It is too high.
Yeah, I thought Loki.
I got outvoted.
Amazing.
Yeah, outvoted. Yeah, sorry. I thought Loki was super brilliant, and then just the whole loving himself is such a
Loki thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Miss Minutes was cool. I mean, it just sets up another season perfectly.
I'm okay with
Slayer looking.
Let's just leave it where it is.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
We're not totally like everyone's like, oh, I love this, and everyone's like, nah, this is the worst thing ever. It's pretty.
It's solid.
It's solid.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple S tiers we got up there, a couple of good A tiers, a few B tiers, which is nice and mid, and then C, a bunch of C's. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Is mid
for this list? Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, an F, I guess, but I wasn't expecting any Fs.
I mean, it's still Marvel. It's not like they made it in like someone's basement.
Yeah.
So I don't
exactly.
It's still well made.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, the closest thing that would have been to that low, maybe for me, Thor and Eternals would be, but I think I'm cool with them being C's though.